pipeline that stretches from the Gulf of Mexico to New York. The company did not say what was demanded or by whom. Tennessee Republican Senator Marsha Blackburn is calling for improvements to the nation's energy infrastructure.
We have had a Department of Energy cybersecurity project at Oak Ridge Labs, and I've been pushing to bring all of our national labs into a consortium to work on this, because securing our nation's critical infrastructure is going to be an imperative because of these bad actors that are out there.
Energy analysts say the impact on fuel supplies and prices depends on how long the pipeline is shut down. Deportations have reached an all-time low as a record surge of new migrants and asylum seekers continues at the southern border. Fox's Bill Malusian in Del Rio, Texas.
Border Patrol reporting that just here in Del Rio in the past week alone, they've been averaging 740 apprehensions every single day. The local sheriff here telling us he's never seen it worse and that human smugglers have been taking advantage. A semi-truck that got pulled over by local police after folks out there reported seeing people in the back of the truck. Police pull it over and there were dozens of migrants in the back of that semi.
Customs officials report 162,000 migrants were detained in April, but about 30,000 got away. 3 people were dead, including a suspect, and 2 others are injured after a shooting and fire in Maryland. Baltimore County Police say officers found an armed man outside a burning home in Woodlawn and shot him. The fire damaged 2 other homes. America is listening to Fox News.
Finally, get curcumin and CoQ10 together. Stop Aging Now brings you CoQ10 Ultra to fight inflammation and energize your body. Get a 30-day supply for 40% off plus free shipping with promo code FOX. Power and protect your cells for a strong heart, sharp brain, pain-free joints, and more. Nancy from West Virginia raves, CoQ10 Ultra helps me stay mentally and physically fit. Only from Stop Aging Now. Get 40% off plus free shipping right now. Go to stopagingnow.com and use code FOX.
The Equality Act is stalling out in the U.S. Senate. Democrats had hoped they could pass the legislation creating new protections for LGBTQ Americans this year, but Republicans warn it would open the floodgates for transgender athletes to play on female sports teams. A large piece of a Chinese rocket from a launch last month is expected to fall back to Earth this weekend. Fox's Jill Nato reports.
A 23-ton rocket core careening out of orbit and headed for Earth. We don't know where it's going to hit, but researchers think they have an idea as to when. The Center for Orbital Reentry and Debris Study says it'll be around 04:19 Greenwich Mean Time. That's 12:19 a.m. Eastern Time Sunday, give or take 8 hours. Because the Earth is mostly covered with water, chances are it'll hit an ocean. And some scientists believe as much as 40% of it will get burned up in the atmosphere. But if it hits land, whatever's left of it is bound to leave a mark. Jill Nato, Fox News.
At least 30 people were dead after a bomb exploded near a girls' school west of Kabul. The Taliban condemned the attack, and there's been no claim of responsibility. A well-known billionaire hosting tonight's Saturday Night Live show on NBC.
Tesla and SpaceX billionaire Elon Musk will take the stage this evening to try his hand at hosting the iconic show, which also features Miley Cyrus as musical guest. The announcement of Musk as Saturday Night Live host has drawn criticism on social media.
Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm.
The push to legalize marijuana is gaining momentum. These prescription doobies will do a whole lot more than just give patients a case of the munchies. Proponents are piping up to say that medical marijuana can help patients with some of the chronic illnesses that have been majorly killing their buzz. Unfortunately, 36 U.S. states are still not a kind bud of the legalization argument. But in states that do have the plan, the results have been, well, pretty far out, man. Patients nationwide are bluntly asking state legislatures to finally mellow out so that they and their doctors can work jointly to stop the suffering that's making a hash of their lives.
So it's clearly an issue that means a lot to these patients.
So states shouldn't choke their time with this policy. We'd be upset if patients had to wait a long time.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live. Free Talk Live. Free Talk Live. Free Talk Live. Free Talk Live.
In case you hadn't guessed by now, the name of the radio program to which you are listening is Free Talk Live. Free Talk Live is a live call-in radio talk program in which you can call, take control of the airwaves, and talk about whatever you would like. Any topic, any subject, doesn't matter. It's up to you. The telephone number you need to do that is 603-283-6160. Again, the phone number is 603-283-6160 if you want to join the conversation. Tonight, I am your host, the Lord Reverend Dr. Captain Kickass, commonly referred to as the Captain. And I have all sorts of things to talk about today. The first thing I want to talk about is an article from Reuters, or Reuters, depending on your preferred pronunciation, RUTERS.com, Reuters. This says a cyber attack has shut down a U.S. fuel pipeline jugular. Now, what does that mean? That means one of the most important, if not the most important pipeline has been shut down. And from this article, the top U.S. fuel pipeline operator, Colonial Pipeline, shuts down its entire network, the source of nearly half of the U.S. East Coast's fuel supply, after a cyber attack on Friday that involved ransomware. So to be clear, this particular pipeline, the Colonial Pipeline, is the source of nearly half of the East Coast of the United States fuel supply. And it was shut down after a cyber attack that involved some ransomware. The incident is one of the most disruptive digital ransom operations ever reported and has drawn attention to how vulnerable U.S. energy infrastructure is to hackers. A prolonged shutdown of the line would cause prices to spike at gasoline pumps ahead of the peak summer driving season, a potential blow to U.S. consumers and the economy. Now, before I go on with this article, I'd just like to say, wow, what interesting timing this particular cyber attack at this pipeline has, because, we're in this inflation mode. Prices of certain goods and services are already rising and on the rise. The value of your dollar, your USD, continues to decline over time. The Federal Reserve continues to print money out of thin air to the tune of something like $7 trillion over the last year or so. And we don't see any end in sight for any of that. So all this means, near as I can tell, is that not only are the prices of goods and services going to continue to increase, but they've added another layer of price increase as a result of this particular cyber attack. And I don't mean they've added a layer. I'm just saying that this is going to cause additional prices to go up. So whereas they wouldn't have gone up before, a large increase in the price of fuel certainly going to be reflected back on the consumer. Quote, "This is as close as you can get to the jugular of infrastructure in the United States," said Amy Myers Jaffe, a research professor and managing director of the Climate Policy Lab. "It's not a major pipeline, it's the pipeline," says Amy Myers. Colonial transports 2.5 million barrels per day of gasoline and other fuels through 5,500 miles of pipelines linking refiners on the Gulf Coast to eastern and southern United States. It also serves some of the country's largest airports, including Atlanta's Hartsfield-Jackson Airport, the world's busiest airport by passenger traffic. So not only are fuel prices going to rise at the gas pump, whether you're running the unleaded or the diesel, but apparently also if you're going to travel via air, because Colonial also supplies jet fuel, it seems. The company said it shut down its operations after learning of a cyber attack on Friday that was using ransomware. Colonial Pipeline is taking steps to understand and resolve this issue. At this time, our primary focus is the safe and efficient restoration of our service and our efforts to return to normal operation, it said. While the U.S. government is investigating in its early stages, one former official and two industry sources said the hackers are likely a professional cybercriminal group. Well, what tipped you off, Einstein? And what do they mean by professional, right? Do they wear suits and ties while they sit at their computer? Do they rent an office somewhere that says professional cyber hackers? Do they, have office meetings where they bring donuts and bagels with cream cheese? Do they have an HR department that celebrates everybody's birthday and brings cake? What do they mean by professional cyber criminal group? The former official said investigators are looking at a group dubbed Dark Side, quote unquote, capital D, capital S, by the way, no space in between the name, Dark Side, known for deploying ransomware and extorting victims while avoiding targets in post-Soviet states. Ransomware is a type of malware designed to lock down systems by encrypting data and demanding payment to regain access. So much like every television or movie you've ever seen where somebody gets kidnapped and demands ransom, kind of the same thing. These people have, put some sort of a malware into the computer systems at Colonial, and they say, hey, if you want this lock to become unlocked and your systems to go back to normal, pay us X, whatever that is. Colonial said that it had engaged in a cybersecurity firm to help the investigation and contacted law enforcement and federal agencies. Okay. The cybersecurity industry sources said the cybersecurity firm FireEye, or FEYE.O, FireEye, also spelled capital F, capital E, FireEye, and no space between its name, was brought in to respond to the attack. FireEye declined to comment. U.S. government bodies, including the FBI, said they were aware of the situation, but did not yet have details of who was behind the attack. Well, of course they didn't. It just happened this morning. No. Looks like this was updated at 6:25 Eastern time. So almost an hour ago. The incident is one of the most disruptive ransom operations ever reported. Colonial said it had engaged the cybersecurity firm to help the investigation. The U.S. government bodies, including the FBI, said they were aware. President Joe Biden was briefed on the incident on Saturday morning, a White House spokesperson said, adding that government is working to try to help the company restore operations and prevent supply disruptions. How exactly is government going to do that? I wonder. I bet you wonder too. 603-283-6160 if you'd like to comment. How do you think government could possibly help these people? This is Free Talk Live. More coming up.
A newly recruited search and rescue officer, Marshall Hunter was resigned to a life of rescuing wayward spacefarers and derelict satellites. But when a billionaire couple goes missing, his own ship is disabled during the rescue. With communication satellites suddenly failing and lunar mineral shipments disappearing in transit, the crew suspects it's more than a coincidence, and Hunter must choose between salvation and sacrifice to save his crewmates and their civilian charges. Frontier by Patrick Childs and BingBooks.com.
Are you tired of governments murdering people around the world? Stop using their money. There is an alternative. Bitcoin is a stateless, free market, non-political currency. Bitcoin cannot be inflated or controlled by any government. By using their money, you are helping the state. Stop doing it. You have an incredible alternative available now. Learn it, use it, spread it. Get started with Bitcoin at Bitcoin.com. That's Bitcoin.com.
What if you want to hear the latest episode of Free Talk Live, but all you have is your phone, you forgot to download our archive, and you have no data connection? You can call our Listen line at 641-793-0191. That's a long-distance number, so you may incur charges. If not, listen as long as you want. 641-793-0191. The Free Talk Live Listen line, 641-793-0191.
Do you feel like your nation, state, or community no longer holds your values? Have you dreamt of a place where people agree that liberty is important and are free to pursue their projects so long as they respect the property of others? There are many people just like you that are discovering freeprivatecities.com. Their social media links are at the upper right of the page at freeprivatecities.com. All skill levels will be needed when the first of the Free Private Cities opens. It's sooner than you think. Stop arguing and build. freeprivatecities.com.
Hi, I'm Derek J. I don't want a politician to represent me. To me, government is the idea that one group of people can coerce everyone to comply with an edict or face increasing punishments up to and including death. Despite perhaps the most noble of intentions, the best government services are a far cry from what could be provided for by voluntary interactions. Besides, the people who call themselves the government wage wars and put peaceful people in jail for crimes involving no victims. If Starbucks used some of its money to drop bombs, I wouldn't shop there. So why would I support the American empire? The empire does not require my consent.
Derek J's Victimless Crime Spree. Watch it for free and order the Director's Cut DVD at victimlesscrimespree.com. That's victimlesscrimespree.com. Tired of cancel culture? Sick of mega tech corporations holding an axe over your head? Join the LRN.FM Matrix chat server. It's self-hosted, so no one else can tell us what to do or say. Don't like the existing channels? You can make your own. You can even connect into some of our channels from other Matrix servers. It's federated. For the full LRN.FM Matrix experience, though, you should join our server via the step-by-step instructions at chat.lrn.fm. Chat.lrn.fm.
Are you tired of your taxes funding endless occupations around the world? Antiwar.com is run by people who understand that wars abroad become wars at home, wars on our freedoms. Antiwar.com is dedicated to bringing you the latest in news, views, interviews, and reviews from the top movers and shakers in the anti-occupation movement. Antiwar.com has it all, from thorough foreign policy analysis to interviews with whistleblowers who used to run the military-industrial complex. Anti-war, pro-free market. That's Antiwar.com.
We're still not sure why you'd want to watch, but our video feed is streaming nightly for free at cam.freetalklive.com.
Yes, welcome back to the only, perhaps, radio talk program in which you can call in, take control of the airwaves, talk whatever is on your mind that I'm aware of, but also that the hosts and co-hosts here generally bring you their views from the perspective of human freedom, liberty, prosperity, and, of course, peace. The show is called Free Talk Live. The telephone number, if you would like to call in, is 603-283-6160. Again, 603-283-6160. That is the telephone number if you would like to join us on air. In the studio tonight, it's myself. I am your host, the Reverend Captain Kickass. And we've been talking about this article from Reuters.com. A cyber attack on U.S. pipeline spots holes in energy security. It certainly does. Apparently, a cyber attack was performed, and it was, I apologize. The headline is Cyber Attack Shuts Down U.S. Fuel Pipeline. A cyber attack was performed successfully, apparently, at the Colonial Pipeline and shut down its entire network, the source of nearly half of the U.S. East Coast fuel supply. This is pretty huge. I mean, 50% of the East Coast's fuel supply. We know how populated the East Coast is, and I don't know where exactly they draw the line for East Coast, because there are states, of course, that actually have, a border that is part of the coast. But then there's states that border those states that are also considered East Coast in some people's minds. And so I don't know the actual breadth of the geography of how widespread, does this go all the way to, say, the Midwest, Wisconsin, Indiana, Illinois, that kind of stuff? When I was on the West Coast, living there for 22 plus years, and folks would, you grew up in Wisconsin? Yep. Oh, well, that's East. You grew up on the East Coast. It's like, no, Wisconsin is not on the East Coast. It doesn't touch any of the coast. So could be just a geographic problem with the school system where folks don't know their geography. But certainly this is vague, if anything. But at any rate, President Joe Biden was briefed on the incident, adding that the government is working to try and help the company restore operations and prevent supply disruptions. Not exactly sure what the government can do about that. We'll see. The Department of Energy said that it was monitoring potential impacts to the nation's energy supply, while both the U.S. Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency and the Transportation Security Administration told Reuters they were working on the situation. We are engaged with the company and our interagency partners regarding the situation. This underscores the threat that ransomware poses to organizations regardless of size or sector, said Eric Goldstein, Executive Assistant Director of the Cybersecurity Division at CISA, C-I-S-A. I really don't like people with these bloated titles. Executive Assistant Director. Like, what does that mean? What do you actually do? Do you write down stuff with pen and paper? Do you type on a computer? Do you stare at glowing rectangles all day? What do you actually do? Executive Assistant Director doesn't tell me or anybody else anything. It sounds all fancy and schmancy. I'm sure it makes for a great business card, but it doesn't tell anybody about what you actually do. Colonial did not give further details or say how long its pipelines would be shut. Well, how could they? It just happened. Derp, derp, derp. The privately held Georgia-based company is owned by CDPQ. That's Colonial Partners LP, IFM, U.S., Colonial Pipeline 2, LLC, KKR, Keats Pipeline Investors LP, Koch Capital Investment Company, LLC, and Shell Midstream Operating, LLC. So it's privately held by at least 4 different private companies. who own it all together. Apparently, they're co-owners, right? Like if you and your sister go in on a real estate investment, you buy a duplex as an investment or something like that. Now you're co-owners. Same thing here. It's just much bigger words and way too many three-letter acronyms for my taste. Unless cybersecurity measures are embedded. Oops. Sorry, I skipped a paragraph. Cybersecurity vulnerabilities have become a systemic issue, said Alguerde Picate, cybersecurity strategy lead at the World Economic Forum Center for Cybersecurity. Well, apparently they're not leading much if the United States jugular pipeline of fuel has been attacked by a ransomware request. Unless cybersecurity measures are embedded in technology's development phase, we are likely to see more frequent attacks on industrial systems like oil and gas pipelines or water treatment plants, they added. The American Automobile Association said a prolonged outage of this particular pipeline could trigger increases in gas prices at the pumps, a worry for consumers ahead of the driving season. Summer, that is. When folks like to get out and about, do things like camping or traveling, seeing different states, different cities, different communities, etc., and so on. A shutdown lasting 4 or 5 days, for example, could lead to sporadic outages at fuel terminals along the U.S. East Coast that depend on the pipeline for deliveries, said Andrew Lipau, president of consultancy Lipau Oil Associates. After the shutdown was first reported on Friday, gasoline futures on the New York Mercantile Exchange gained 0.6%, while diesel futures rose 1.1%, both outpacing gains in crude oil. Gulf Coast cash prices for gasoline and diesel edged lower on prospects that supplies could accumulate in the region. As every day goes by, it becomes greater and greater an impact on Gulf Coast oil refining, said Lipau. Refiners would have to react by reducing crude processing because they've lost part of the distribution system. Oil refining companies contacted by Reuters on Saturday said their operations had not yet been impacted. Kinder Morgan Incorporated, KMI.N, meanwhile, said its products, SE Pipeline Corporation, PPL, serving many of the same regions, remains in full service. PPL is currently working with customers to accommodate additional barrels during Colonial's downtime. It said PPL can deliver about 720,000 BPD of fuel throughout its pipeline network from Louisiana to the Washington, D.C. area. What do you think this means? Higher gas prices coming for you? More expensive flights? 603-283-6160.
Carl Watner, longtime proponent of a voluntary society, died last December. You may have seen his articles published on his website, voluntarist.com, in his newsletter, The Voluntarist, the Mises Institute, or elsewhere over the last 40 years. His newest book, I Must Speak Out, Volume 2, The Best of the Voluntarist, is now available via Liberty Under Attack Publications. This 430-page second volume spans the years of 2000 through 2020 and includes articles by Carl Watner, Hans Hermann Hoppe, Carl Hess, Benjamin Tucker, George H. Smith, Lysander Spooner, Pete Eyre, Joyce Brand, and many others. I Must Speak Out is for the newly initiated, the veteran voluntarist, or anywhere in between. Buy the book now at libertyunderattack.com/voluntarist. For more great content on building a voluntary society and for Carl's extensive archives, check out voluntarist.com.
On Free Talk Live, we're bringing people to the ideas of liberty every day. From wrestling superstars like Glenn Jacobs.
You guys really are having an impact, I believe. Like I said, a lot of where I am now is due to listening to Free Talk Live. You changed my mind on some very important issues years ago.
To random people tuning in on the radio.
I was kind of stuck in the left-right paradigm. I heard your show by chance on a Saturday night. From there, I went on, joined the Free State Project, and become an amplifier. So, I mean, that's really the reason why I amp is because I know that if it wasn't for you guys being on as many stations as you are, I never would have found the ideas of liberty.
Your AMP will directly change more lives by getting Free Talk Live in front of people looking for talk radio online and on the air. When you AMP Free Talk Live, you get perks like access to the AMP-only Facebook group and AMP podcast. Visit amp.freetalklive.com. Bitcoin.com has launched a trading platform at local.bitcoin.com, allowing you to buy or sell Bitcoin Cash via dozens of payment methods like PayPal, Venmo, bank deposit, remittances, or meeting in person with cash. There are no ID requirements to sign up for and use the site, and all communications between buyers and sellers are encrypted. Finally, a global trading platform that respects your privacy. Visit local.bitcoin.com to get started trading Bitcoin Cash. local.bitcoin.com. Some of you asked, and now we've delivered. LRN.FM's live Keene, New Hampshire studio shows are now streamed in HD on Twitch. Visit our channel at twitch.lrn.fm and give it a follow. If you have Amazon Prime, you get one free subscription on Twitch. If you use it on our channel, Twitch will give LRN.FM a monthly piece of your Prime subscription cost. So please watch, follow, share, and subscribe to twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm. I'm grateful to have heard from some of our satellite listeners recently. I appreciate knowing that people are out there who like what we do and are willing to support it financially. LRN.FM's free-to-air satellite feeds blanket most of 2 continents. It was my goal to put our channel there so people without internet could receive our programs and feed pirate radio stations. We started a fundraiser on Patreon a few years ago to back the satellite channels. I recently announced that I was considering canceling the feeds, and donations increased from 15 to 20% of our costs, which are around $1,000 per month. That's a good start, and to incentivize more contributions, the Shire Free Church will be matching every dollar. Can we reach $500 per month? With your help, we can. You can join our satellite fundraiser for just $2 a month at fund.lrn.fm. If we raise enough to keep both of the channels on the air, awesome. If we raise more, I'll add more channels. If not, we can shut them down and go internet only. It's up to you. Thank you for your support. fund.lrn.fm.
Yep, we still do email. Drop your email address in the entry box at freetalklive.com, and you'll be kept in the loop with Free Talk Live.
Yeah, it is Free Talk Live, the live call-in radio talk program where you can call, talk about anything that's on your mind. Take control of the airwaves. Get it off your chest, whatever you got to say. 603-283-6160 is the telephone number you need to get online with us here in the studio. Again, 603-283-6160. In the studio tonight, it's myself, the Reverend Captain Kickass, joining me.
It's Bonnie.
We've been talking about this it's disturbing, but I have so many things to say about this. It's from Reuters.
You've been talking about.
Well, people have been listening, so there's a we involved. The cyber attack shuts down U.S. fuel pipeline Jugular. And this apparently happened sometime late on Friday, and this article was posted just a little more than an hour ago.
I'm definitely ignorant about pipeline mechanisms, but how can it get cyber attacked? What does that mean?
Okay, so just imagine that all of the valves and systems that keep the pipeline from bursting, or fire getting started, or anything like any spills happening. All of these things are controlled by a computer, of course.
Well, that would make sense.
And so somebody, I'm speculating here, they haven't gone into detail of the actual mechanisms of what has been done, but somebody arguably has sent some sort of malware into the network of the company who controls this particular pipeline and has seized all of their computers. Right? Their computers have stopped functioning in the way that they normally would. And so it has caused these people to shut down the entire pipeline. So they have manual ways to do that, right? Big valves that they got to turn, big wheels and stuff like that to actually shut the pipeline down. But this particular pipeline happens to supply about half of the fuel to the East Coast. So,
oh my God.
yeah.
Why'd I have to move here?
Well, for me, better here than others, even with this particular thing. We'll get to your calls and your thoughts in just a moment. But first, I need to tell you that Bitcoin.com is the best source for learning about cryptocurrency. You can go to Bitcoin.com now and click on Get Started right at the top of the page. Once you do that, you'll find all sorts of valuable information neatly organized to suit your needs. There's no longer any excuse to ignore this important and world-changing information. If you're already a knowledgeable crypto user, you can check out news.bitcoin.com to get all the latest headlines of the news that's relevant to you. Bitcoin.com is your source for everything crypto, like getting a wallet app, mining, trading, and all the latest cryptocurrency news, all on a very slick and easy-to-use website. Please visit Bitcoin.com. Again, Bitcoin.com. As I throw pens around the studio and then fail to be able to pick them up, I will grab a new pen instead.
Oh, but the pen you dropped is the best one.
Well, yeah, it probably is, actually. We need new pens around here. Anyway, let's go to your calls and thoughts. We have Mr. Gandy calling from, I believe you're currently somewhere in New Hampshire, aren't you, Mr. Gandy?
I am. You may think of my first name as Bitcoin.
Bitcoin Gandhi?
Bitcoin Gandy.
Why are you guys saying Gandhi? Is this a Yankee thing? It's totally
Mr. Gandhi
Gandhi.
spent much of his life in South Africa, and Gandhi is the South African pronunciation. I believe that is how he pronounced it, but I am not certain.
Okay, well,
I've only been saying Gandy because Mr. Bitcoin Gandy has been saying Bitcoin Gandy.
Okay.
So, at any rate, Mr. Gandy, Mr. Bitcoin Gandy, you called for a reason. What is that?
My civil disobedience march begins tomorrow in Keene at the site of the federal raid.
What time? Folks, there seems to be some confusion about what the actual start time is.
At 3 o'clock p.m.
Okay.
And the early stops along the march are now being set, and I wish to clarify them. The first stop I intend is the Keene Police Department, where I wish to deliver a written request to the people present that they reduce their cooperation with the federal government.
Good one.
Nice. So you're compiling what lists of grievances and you're delivering them? Is that kind of the idea?
I wish to compile a list of grievances and will absolutely accept and honor as many grievances as I can.
Wow.
However, I have discovered in the process that it is going to be a logistical challenge to print out the grievances while marching. So for the moment, I am focusing on delivering grievances to each police department along the route to Concord, where I will, of course, be violating federal speech restriction 102-74.
Nice. As you know, the captain is a fan of free speech, and anytime you can use free speech to violate some arbitrary rule, dictate, law, executive order, whatever, well, I'm a fan.
Thus, the initial stop will likely be the Keene Police Department at 6 p.m. At roughly 5 p.m. After we are done at the Mighty Moose March in Keene.
Okay. Other stops planned, or do you know?
I will be stopping, if I'm able, at every police department and service department along the route. However, there may not be any service department within range. I will look at the map and determine where each office is and how far out of my way I would have to go to reach it.
Okay. So
I intend to stop at. There is a plan to stop at Henniker Police Department on May 16th, but the precise details have not been set. If you visit bitcoingandhi.net, you will find that I have a Telegram channel where I will be you can find my Telegram channel where I will be posting updates of where and when I will be.
Nice. So for our folks listening who may not know how to properly spell bitcoingandhi.net, can you spell that out for them, please?
Gandhi is spelled Gandhi.
So Bitcoin, GANDHI.net is where folks can connect with you and your civil disobedience and find links to your Telegram chat and all that fun stuff?
That is correct. Additionally, there is live streaming or something approaching live streaming, but it will be somewhat limited.
I was going to ask if you were documenting the journey in some way, shape, or form, even if, it's recording and then, producing something after the fact, that type of a thing. It's something I'm certainly interested in. And I also want to say, on behalf of the Crypto 6, the actual 6 folks who were arrested, and of course, anybody who was affected by the terrorist raids of March 16th that happened here at the Free Talk Live studio, as well as the Mighty Moose Mart and the homes of some of our hosts and our friends. Thank you for putting this particular civil disobedience on. I appreciate what you do.
Thank you. And I should add that I am asking people not to donate to me, but to donate to freethecrypto6.com.
Freethecrypto6.com.
No, it's just the
That
Crypto
is a
6.
key purpose of the march. It is to protest the arrest of the Crypto 6 and asking people to donate at freethecrypto6.com.
All right, hang on. So that's a new URL for me. I'm only familiar with thecrypto6.com.
It is a redirect to the same website.
Very well. Okay, great.
Set up by Mr. Wade of your show.
Yep, there it is. And it's the numeral 6 if you're spelling that out. Free the crypto and then the number 6.
Well, see you there. Thanks, Bitcoin Gandhi.
Thank you, Bitcoin Gandhi. We appreciate you. 603-283-6160. Would you join the Bitcoin Gandhi in his walkabout trek to present grievances to police departments? More Free Talk Live on the way.
The Free State Project has reached its goal of 20,000 liberty lovers who've pledged to move to New Hampshire and get active to achieve liberty in our lifetime. Perhaps you're trying to figure out what part of New Hampshire should be your destination. If so, consider Keene. You'll find more than 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com. Keene is famous for its historic, publicity-generating activism, as well as being the liberty media capital of the world. It's home to freekeene.com, New Hampshire's destination for liberty activism, news, and opinion. For years, we've been compiling over 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com, where you'll learn about some of what's happening here and what makes Keene a great place to live. If you love liberty, you'll probably enjoy anywhere you end up in the Shire. But do your due diligence first. Please visit move.freekeene.com for the full list of over 150 reasons to move to Keene. That's move.freekeene.com.
I'm a little obsessed with My Magic Mud. Several years ago, I met Jessica Armand, the founder and CEO of My Magic Mud, and I didn't even know my teeth were coffee stained. A week's worth of use convinced me, and now I use it every 3 or 4 days. It's clinically proven to whiten teeth, and I think it cleans better, too. My Magic Mud's available at most local health food stores, Sprouts, Natural Grocers, CVS, Walmart's Natural Beauty Aisle, but I can get it for you for 20% off with coupon code FTL20 at mymagicmud.com. FTL20 mymagicmud.com.
So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM.
This is Michael Dean from the Freedom Fiends. I've run websites since 1996 and have used over a dozen web hosts in that time. AgristHosting.com is the only one that hasn't broken my heart. Agrist Hosting's uptime and service is stellar, and their DDoS mitigation is the best I've seen. That's important because if you tell the truth in this world, you'll ruffle feathers. And some people will try dirty tricks to silence your voice. No matter what the haters hit us with, Agorist Hosting keeps our websites online. If you have a mission-critical commercial presence or a world-changing activism site, you cannot tolerate any skullduggery. So go with agoristhosting.com. Have a WordPress or blog site, but you're not satisfied with performance or uptime? Or just want raw hosting? Want to pay with Bitcoin? Agorist Hosting specializes in high-performance hosting with personalized service. Go to agoristhosting.com and click on the button that says Get Hosted. That's agoristhosting.com.
If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com to receive our usually weekly news updates by email. Plus, we have a Twitter account at twitter.freetalklive.com, and you can follow us on the decentralized Mastodon platform at toot.freetalklive.com. So please follow us at toot.freetalklive.com and sign up for our emails at news.freetalklive.com.
There are basically two types of advertising, direct response and branding. Radio's great for direct response with its low cost to listener ratio, but audio can't be beat for branding, which is a longer-term endeavor. You want to be the first thing that someone thinks of when they think about your product or service. If you have a local business that you want kept top of mind in your community, call the station. If you need national reach, Free Talk Live's got around 200 radio stations, millions of monthly listening sessions, can suit all budgets, and if we don't think we're right for you, we'll tell you. Email me, mark@freetalklive.com.
Got Telegram? You can follow our channel there and discuss show prep with other listeners at telegram.freetalklive.com.
Thank you for listening. Thank you for tuning in. It is Free Talk Live. We are the live call-in radio talk program where you can take control of the airwaves, talk about anything that's on your mind. The telephone number to do that is 603-283-6160. Again, 603-283-6160. In the studio tonight, it's myself, the captain.
It's Bonnie.
We've been talking about, well, we've been attempting to discuss this article from Reuters about a cyber attack that has shut down what some people are calling a jugular of the U.S. fuel pipeline that apparently carries more than half of the fuel consumed by the, quote, East Coast of the U.S., unquote.
I already went to a 7-Eleven the other day that my boss was like, oh, it's always pretty cheap up there. Drove myself up there to the 7-Eleven in Keene, and I paid $3 for gas.
That
it was
doesn't seem pretty cheap.
$2.98. So that was pre-cyber attack.
Yes.
What's it going to be now, like $5?
Oh, I mean, so we've already seen in recent history, $5 gasoline.
Up here?
I don't know about up here, but
that doesn't happen
out on
in
the
Texas.
out on the West Coast, we saw, $4.98 or something. I don't remember exactly the amount, but I was thinking, wow, $5 gas. Huh. Who knew? So, I mean, this could mean more than that.
Oh my God.
I mean, we don't know. We don't know the impact. It depends on how long it goes on, but we could talk more about this. But first, let's go to Bob calling from Michigan. Bob, you're on Free Talk Live.
Hey, how you doing? I didn't even know that this program existed on my local radio station until I was driving home and heard it on WZTK 107 or 105.7 in Alpena.
Well, that's awesome.
So
sometimes
now you got a new listener. So, but I've got a story to tell you, bro.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, I'm retired up here in Alpena. I've been a professional journalist my entire life. I worked for Scripps Howard, written for the Tribune newspapers. I worked for CBS Radio, CNN Radio. I've hosted local radio stations, Colorado Springs, KVOR, here in Alpena, just all around the country. Okay, I've been doing this for over 30 years.
Real quick, Bob, I don't know if you're close to your phone or not, but your voice sounds a little faded. I think you're talking on a cell phone. If you just make sure you're speaking into the cell phone so the listeners can hear. Your story is very interesting. I just want to make sure you're as clear as possible coming through the airwaves.
Okay, well,
That's
I will
much better.
do as good as I can.
Thanks.
Okay. So anyway, I've got a degree in journalism, a license from the FCC to broadcast on any radio or television station in the country. I'm just trying to establish my bona fides real quick here because I don't want anybody calling me a conspiracy theorist or a tinfoil hat wearing nut job, all right?
Okay.
I've been doing this for a long time. Now, I was at the Capitol at the East entrance on January 6th. I recorded two men that I have come to understand are undercover FBI agents who were smashing windows, inviting people to go inside, and when that didn't work, they started pushing people inside.
Oh my
God.
On January the 15th, as soon as I got home and got all my footage compiled, I sent 29 minutes of high-definition video to the FBI. Okay, and these two men are featured prominently. Now, I've kept up to this story. You know, I'm a journalist, so I, do my follow-up, right?
Right.
Since I sent them that footage on January 15th, not one frame of the video that I gave them, 29 minutes worth, not one still picture has appeared on the FBI's website where they're asking for tips to find out who these people are. That hasn't been uploaded to the FBI's YouTube channel, and none of their images have been uploaded to the FBI's Facebook page.
Wow.
Okay, now they are publishing fuzzy photographs of people just milling around outside the Capitol building.
Right.
But I capture high-definition video of two men that are actually committing violent crimes that the FBI doesn't want to know about it.
What? Wow.
I've contacted their media people several times. I cannot get a return email.
So, I don't know. I think this is an example of a time not to talk to the police. Maybe, it seems like I'm just afraid you've painted like a target on your back. I feel like you should have just
I definitely did, but that's not because of anything that I did wrong.
Oh, yeah,
See,
of course
I
not.
never went inside the Capitol.
Right.
I was only at the outside door. Okay, now, first thing that I filmed was a guy by the name of Hunter Emke. He's 20 years old from Englewood, California, breaking a window at the... Okay, if you guys want to watch this video, it's at bobpowell.blogspot.com. It's right at the top of the page.
Bob
it's
Powell?
only 3 minutes long.
Bob, Powell.
Right, .blogspot.com.
Okay, got
It's been featured in Breitbart, Gateway Pundit, and the Epic Times.
Okay.
But I'm not getting any official response except from Kirsten Sinema and Josh Hawley. Okay, I've sent emails to 535 members of Congress, and none of them went through. They're all coming back as undeliverable for some reason or another. Same with the emails that I've been sending to reporters and networks. They come back as undeliverable, or the people are not getting them.
Are you sending the emails like with the attached video, or are you sending an email with a link to your
Yes,
blog
that's the
spot?
problem. I think they've tagged the URL so that any email that gets sent with that URL in it doesn't get through.
Right.
But dig this. They got on the Gateway Pundit, Breitbart, and Epic Times. I used their forms, submit a tip.
Yep.
The form on their website. And Kirsten Sinema and Josh Hawley, they called back because I called one of their local offices in their home state. Okay, apparently nobody is getting my messages that I'm leaving on the official messaging system in Washington, D.C.
Right.
Well,
But I've
if you
been
know
able to get
these-
a hold of people at their home state.
If you know these people are undercover FBI agents, I'm pretty sure you know your own answer of why they're not responding.
Well, yeah, and that's the thing, you see, because the more they don't respond, the guiltier they look.
Yeah.
Oh,
agreed.
yeah.
Right?
Yeah, for sure.
This is something that they cannot defend. The first thing that I caught after that Hunter Empty guy broke that window was 8 Capitol Hill police officers milling around in front of that broken window, Okay, now 30 feet away, there's a mob trying to beat down the doors and get inside the Capitol. They're being driven back with tear gas and flashbangs, and these Capitol Hill cops are over here in the corner with this broken window. Nobody's threatening them. They're under no threat whatsoever. They get an order to leave that broken window completely undefended, with a mob beating down the doors 30 feet away. Now,
yeah, because nobody's going to be smart enough to go, hey, look, an open window.
Yeah, Ashley Babbitt made that mistake, though.
Wow.
And I was in the Marine Corps, bro, and what they were trying to do was flank the Senate. Okay, they had the broken window where Ashley Babbitt was. This was at the same time. They wanted to get people to go in through that window so that there would be people coming up from behind the Capitol Hill cops that were inside the well of the Senate.
Oh.
They wanted them to be surrounded on both sides by angry people.
I see.
Okay, and this was their plan, but they didn't count on the fact that I am a United States Marine under oath until the day that I die. Nobody is going in my Capitol, especially through a broken window during a riot. All right, I've sworn to protect and defend this nation, and that includes the Capitol building. So I physically took away several people that tried to get in there.
Well,
While I was doing that, this guy, this other FBI agent, pulls that window completely out of his frame. The Hunter Rifty had just spidered it. He just knocked a couple of holes in it. FBI just pulls the whole damn window out and says, why don't you go inside?
Yeah. Hey, thanks for the call, Bob. It's bobpowell.blogspot.com if you want to go see the video that Bob's talking about. Again, Bob Powell, POWELL.blogspot.com. Fantastic story, Bob. Keep your OPSEC secure, and good luck to you. Let us know if there's any updates on this. 603-283-6160 is the telephone number if you'd like to comment on anything Bob said or anything we've been talking about, or talk about whatever's on your mind. This is Free Talk Live.
The Terran Federation and the Terran League have been killing each other for decades. Sheltered, wealthy, and light years from the threat, the members of the 500 have no interest in changing that. When Rear Admiral Terrence Murphy is given governorship of a backwater system, a risk-free path to wealth and power is his for the taking. But Murphy is a man of honor, duty, and responsibility. He intends to stop the killing, whatever the cost. Governor, by David Weber and Richard Fox, from BaneBooks.com.
Are you tired of governments murdering people around the world? Stop using their money. There is an alternative. Bitcoin is a stateless, free market, non-political currency. Bitcoin cannot be inflated or controlled by any government. By using their money, you're helping the state. Stop doing it. You have an incredible alternative available now. Learn it, use it, spread it. Get started with Bitcoin at Bitcoin.com. That's Bitcoin.com.
Looking for a great real estate investment? Consider New Hampshire, which is ground zero for the Liberty Movement. Your first call should be to Mark Worden from Porcupine Real Estate. He's more than just a real estate agent. He's your New Hampshire concierge. Where are the best places to live? Do you want farm, city, the burbs, or forest? Do you want a duplex or multifamily building so that renters pay your mortgage? There are homes in all price ranges in New Hampshire, and Mark can help with financing too. Invest in liberty and property. Mark Worden can help.
PorcupineRealEstate.com.
The LRN.FM social media channels have been revamped. We've eliminated Facebook and focused on other platforms like Twitter and Mastodon, the decentralized alternative to Twitter. On our accounts, you'll find posts from multiple LRN.FM show hosts together in one place. Follow us on Twitter at twitter.lrn.fm, or better yet, move to the decentralized Mastodon social media platform at toot.lrn.fm, toot.lrn.fm. I think you'll like it.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 2 is next, after the news, here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
A major energy pipeline shut down by a cyber attack. I'm Joe Giro, Fox News. Colonial Pipeline says it was targeted by a ransomware attack that forced it to temporarily shut down a pipeline that stretches from the Gulf of Mexico to New York. The company did not say what was demanded or by whom. Tennessee Republican Senator Marsha Blackburn is calling for improvements to the nation's energy infrastructure.
We have had a Department of Energy cybersecurity project at Oak Ridge Labs, and I've been pushing to bring all of our national labs into a consortium to work on this, because securing our nation's critical infrastructure is going to be an imperative because of these bad actors that are out there.
Energy analysts say the impact on fuel supplies and prices depends on how long the pipeline is shut down. Deportations have reached an all-time low as a record surge of new migrants and asylum seekers continues at the southern border. Fox's Bill Malusian in Del Rio, Texas.
Border Patrol reporting that just here in Del Rio in the past week alone, they've been averaging 740 apprehensions every single day. The local sheriff here telling us he's never seen it worse and that human smugglers have been taking advantage. A semi-truck that got pulled over by local police after folks out there reported seeing people in the back of the truck. Police pull it over and there were dozens of migrants in the back of that semi.
Customs officials report 162,000 migrants were detained in April, but about 30,000 got away. 3 people were dead, including a suspect, and 2 others are injured after a shooting and fire in Maryland. Baltimore County Police say officers found an armed man outside a burning home in Woodlawn and shot him. The fire damaged 2 other homes. America is listening to Fox News.
Finally, get curcumin and CoQ10 together. Stop Aging Now brings you CoQ10 Ultra to fight inflammation and energize your body. Get a 30-day supply for 40% off plus free shipping with promo code FOX. Power and protect your cells for a strong heart, sharp brain, pain-free joints, and more. Nancy from West Virginia raves, CoQ10 Ultra helps me stay mentally and physically fit. Only from Stop Aging Now. Get 40% off plus free shipping right now. Go to stopagingnow.com and use code FOX.
The Equality Act is stalling out in the U.S. Senate. Democrats had hoped they could pass the legislation creating new protections for LGBTQ Americans this year, but Republicans warn it would open the floodgates for transgender athletes to play on female sports teams. A large piece of a Chinese rocket from a launch last month is expected to fall back to Earth this weekend. Fox's Jill Nato reports.
A 23-ton rocket core careening out of orbit and headed for Earth. We don't know where it's going to hit, but researchers think they have an idea as to when. The Center for Orbital Reentry and Debris Study says it'll be around 04:19 Greenwich Mean Time. That's 12:19 a.m. Eastern Time Sunday, give or take 8 hours. Because the Earth is mostly covered with water, chances are it'll hit an ocean. And some scientists believe as much as 40% of it will get burned up in the atmosphere. But if it hits land, whatever's left of it is bound to leave a mark. Jill Nato, Fox News.
At least 30 people were dead after a bomb exploded near a girls' school west of Kabul. The Taliban condemned the attack, and there's been no claim of responsibility. A well-known billionaire hosting tonight's Saturday Night Live show on NBC.
Tesla and SpaceX billionaire Elon Musk will take the stage this evening to try his hand at hosting the iconic show, which also features Miley Cyrus as musical guest. The announcement of Musk as Saturday Night Live host has drawn criticism on social media.
We have some good news. The indictments against Ross Ulbricht in the District of Maryland were dismissed with prejudice, meaning they can never be refiled. This is especially good because those indictments contain the only charge ever made that Ross engaged in murder for hire. This was a serious allegation that Ross Ulbricht denies. It was never prosecuted or ruled on by a jury, but was trumpeted by the federal government and the media as if it were proven fact. The Maryland court held these indictments for almost 5 years, poisoning Ross's case and leaving him under a cloud of unproven allegations. As explained in Ross's appeal to the Supreme Court, the fact that the judge used these allegations to give Ross a draconian sentence of double life without parole violated his Sixth Amendment right to a jury trial. Judges are required to issue sentences based on convictions decided by a jury, not unproven allegations never even charged at trial. Although this is a positive development, the dropped indictment will not set Ross free. Now, a presidential pardon is Ross's only hope of freedom. Sign the petition at freeross.org. freeross.org.
According to a groundbreaking new study published Thursday in the New England Journal of Medicine, psychologists have discovered that the average person, while ostensibly appearing to be normal and mentally sound in their day-to-day lives, immediately becomes a deranged psychotic when alone at home.
We observed hundreds of subjects with successful careers, numerous friends, and loving families. Perfectly normal. But as soon as they were at their homes by themselves, they began presenting behavior consistent with those suffering from dementia, schizophrenia, and various other acute mental illnesses.
Researchers illustrated the study's findings with footage of 29-year-old test subject Brian Temple, who, despite having a steady job and maintaining an ordinary social life, exhibited increasingly erratic and unstable activity from the moment he was alone in his apartment, including dancing in his kitchen to no music whatsoever, making grotesque faces in the mirror for extended periods of time, and seemingly having conversations with no one in particular.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
Welcome back to the program. Thanks for tuning into the show, everybody. This is Free Talk Live. Free Talk Live is a call-in radio talk program where you can call, talk about anything that's on your mind. Doesn't matter. The telephone number is 603-283-6160. Again, 603-283-6160. 6160. We do have a caller on hold. We'll get to them momentarily. In the studio tonight, it's myself, the captain.
And it's Bonnie.
On March 16th, 2021, terrorists, calling themselves government agencies, conspired together and raided the Free Talk Live studio, the Bitcoin Embassy, the homes of Aria DiMezzo, the homes of Renee and Andy Spinella, and Colleen Fordham. 6 people were arrested. These people are called the Crypto Six, and were all kidnapped and held hostage by the government. 4 of those folks are out on some sort of bail conditions, but Ian Freeman and Nobody, that's a person, calls himself Nobody, formerly known as Rich Paul, both remain captive. What can you do to help? Well, you can visit thecrypto6.com. When you get there, you'll find multiple ways in which you can donate to their legal defense fund, because the charges they're facing are not a joke. It's going to take some serious legal firepower and a variety of experts to protect the Crypto Six from further aggression from terrorists known as the state. This case is very likely to set precedent that will affect the whole world of cryptocurrency, possibly for decades to come. You can help them in their fight for liberty and financial freedom by visiting thecrypto6.com. One more time, thecrypto6.com. All right. We were talking about this article from Reuters about this pipeline that has faced a cyber attack, causing them to shut down what they're calling the jugular of fuel delivery, responsible for about half of all fuel delivered to the South and East Coast. And we could talk more about that. But first, let's go to Jack, who's calling from Ocean Shores, Washington. Jack, you are on Free Talk Live.
Thank you. And hashtag Crypto6, by the way. That's an interesting development going on. Now, I was going to say that I believe that it's potential that the pipeline's an inside job.
What makes you think that? Because that's an interesting question, and a question that I hadn't asked, but what makes you think that?
Well, gas prices shot up, and I think it's a great way to pass the blame on to something other than the administration or the government itself.
I see. Yeah, that's...
Or we go into many conspiracies there. It's an open conversation, really. I don't know.
Yeah, I've noticed since the election that certainly the price of gasoline has not gone down, and if anything, it's gone up. I think it's maybe close to doubled in price. What do you think, Bonnie? What are we paying for gas here? Is it double since the election?
I don't look at gas prices at all because it's just like I have to pay it anyway.
Yeah.
But the other day, somebody had mentioned to me at the 7-Eleven, it's pretty cheap. And I drove up there and it was $2.98.
Yeah,
So
recently I paid $2.78 here in New Hampshire. What's it like in Ocean Shores, Washington?
$3.50, $3.80.
Yeah.
We're a suburb or a vacation area for Seattle.
Yep, I used to live in Seattle.
Values.
I'm very familiar with Ocean Shores.
Yeah, cool, man. Well, thank you, and keep the fight going, man. We appreciate it.
Awesome, Jack. Thanks for listening. We appreciate the call. Yeah, so, I mean, I guess I hadn't thought about it, but, the price of gas has been going up, and if political leaders don't want to, take the blame, as it were, as they normally do for these things, instead of just opening up the economy and allowing people to trade as they want. I guess it's possible this could be an inside job to divert some blame.
And it could be diverting blame. It could also be to keep us from moving around wherever we want to go.
Indeed.
Most of us don't have fully electric cars. I wish I did.
Oh, I know I don't. I was looking at e-bikes recently because somebody who works with us, our IT guy, has an e-bike that's pretty fancy. Yeah, it's really cool. And I've been looking at these for a while, simply to just sort of have on hand should the situation arise where I need transportation, but fuel or some other form isn't available, right? So we're talking about disaster recovery. Like when I lived in Seattle, there's always the danger of volcanoes and earthquakes in particular.
Volcanoes?
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
Seattle's surrounded by mountains, which are all volcanoes.
Oh my God,
like
I
all
didn't
of
know
them.
that.
I mean, not every single one, but like 6 of them or something like that.
Wait, isn't Mount St. Helens up
Mount
there?
St.
Oh, so
Helens,
that's one.
yep. Mount Rainier is one.
I guess I have heard of that, but didn't think much about it.
It's surrounded by volcanoes. Also, tsunamis are a danger to the Seattle area as well. So if something happens out in the Pacific Ocean that creates a tsunami, it could certainly flood Seattle proper, cut off services, utilities, all that kind of stuff. So as sort of I've been thinking about adding an e-bike to my disaster preparedness, outfit, just to have something that I can charge. I mean, I'm getting older, right? So I'm not as nimble as I used to be. I could still ride a bike, no problem. But we're in the mountains of New Hampshire, and I was in the mountains of Seattle. Pedaling uphill, is getting more strenuous for me the older I get. And so I wanted to have the e-bike just so I could get around the mountains and the hills and stuff like that in an urban community, which is about the same as it is here. It's a little more rural out here. But having that e-bike is something I can just charge with a solar panel. I don't need actual, electricity. So if the utilities were cut off in a disaster for any reason, I could still have some version of transport to get, to a store or a market or somebody else's house to trade goods that, with other people and that kind of a thing, should it become necessary to do so.
I got my license taken away when I lived on a military base, and I hated those cops so much, and they hated me. So, I would have to walk to work, and it was so annoying because I'd see them pass me, and I'd be like, man, I hate them. So my plan, but it just didn't happen because I ended up getting my license back sooner than I thought, was to get one of those, baby car toys and just drive that to work. I don't need a license.
That's fantastic.
But I never ended up doing it.
E-bikes are interesting because some of them go really fast.
Oh, yeah.
And, they support multiple batteries, et cetera, and so on. Some of them look kind of like motorcycles.
Yeah.
If not, ride just like them. But depending on the state that you live in, some e-bikes can be as fast as motorcycles, but still be classified a bicycle as long as they have the ability to attach some pedals to it.
Don't they already have pedals?
E-bikes?
Yeah, I felt like my
right. What I'm talking about, more advanced versions of e-bikes that look more like motorcycles, right? They've got the whole fiberglass fairing and maybe a little windshield on it and stuff like that. They can go pretty fast. These things can be classified as bicycles, as long as they have an area where you can attach pedals. You don't have to have the pedals actually attached.
Wow.
But as long as and like it also needs to be functional. So like if you run out of battery, you got to be able to actually move the pedals for it to still legally be a bicycle.
Yeah, but you would probably want at least to have the pedals on you, because if it ran out of battery somehow, then you can just keep driving it with the pedals.
Well, I mean, there's all sorts of vehicles that are just battery powered that don't have pedals. So, like, you know, it wouldn't be any different than that. What I'm saying is there's this gray area of the law where e-bikes have sort of made their way into, where electric motorcycles cannot penetrate because they're classified as a motor vehicle, whereas the e-bikes are classified as bicycles. So you can get an e-bike that's almost as fast as an electric motorcycle and yet not have to pay for your licensing, pay for insurance. You don't need a regular driver's license to operate a bicycle in almost anywhere I've ever been in the United States anyway. So you can get around all that sort of stuff by just having an e-bike instead of an electric motorcycle. So 603-283-6160. Your calls and thoughts coming up if you dial that number. This is Free Talk Live.
There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archives. Did you know that we make it easy for you to customize your podcast subscriptions? We have different feeds, one that includes only our full shows, one with just the Daily Digest, and our main feed that includes everything. You decide what you listen to. It's quick and easy to customize your feeds at feeds.freetalklive.com. That's feeds.freetalklive.com.
Do you feel like your nation, state, or community no longer holds your values? Have you dreamt of a place where people agree that liberty is important and are free to pursue their projects so long as they respect the property of others? There are many people just like you that are discovering freeprivatecities.com. Their social media links are at the upper right of the page at freeprivatecities.com. All skill levels will be needed when the first of the Free Private Cities opens. It's sooner than you think. Stop arguing and build. freeprivatecities.com.
A newly recruited search and rescue officer, Marshall Hunter was resigned to a life of rescuing wayward spacefarers and derelict satellites. But when a billionaire couple goes missing, his own ship is disabled during the rescue. With communication satellites suddenly failing and lunar mineral shipments disappearing in transit, the crew suspects it's more than a coincidence, and Hunter must choose between salvation and sacrifice to save his crewmates and their civilian charges. Frontier by Patrick Childs and BingBooks.com.
Are you tired of governments murdering people around the world? Stop using their money. There is an alternative. Bitcoin is a stateless, free market, non-political currency. Bitcoin cannot be inflated or controlled by any government. By using their money, you are helping the state. Stop doing it. You have an incredible alternative available now. Learn it, use it, spread it. Get started with Bitcoin at bitcoin.com. That's bitcoin.com.
Join liberty-minded voluntarists, anarchists, and libertarians from June 28th through July 4th for ForkFest 2021 at Rogers Campground in the beautiful White Mountains of New Hampshire. ForkFest happens the week after the Porcupine Freedom Festival, and ForkFest is decentralized, which means no one is in charge. That also means there's no ticket cost. Just reserve your camping, RV site, or motel room with Rogers Campground for June 28th through July 4th. Where better to celebrate Independence Day than around other freedom-loving activists in the Shire? You can relax and enjoy the camaraderie of like-minded people, or you can create whatever experience or event you'd like others to have. If you're planning an event for ForkFest, be sure to let others know in advance. You can connect with fellow ForkFesters via the unofficial Telegram chat or the ForkFest forum. Links to those are on the unofficial website, forkfest.party. Mark your calendar for June 28th through July 4th, 2021. We'll see you at forkfest.party. What if you want to hear the latest episode of Free Talk Live, but all you have is your phone, you forgot to download our archive, and you have no data connection? You can call our Listen line at 641-793-0191. That's a long-distance number, so you may incur charges. If not, listen as long as you want. 641-793-0191. The Free Talk Live Listen line, 641-793-0191.
Are you tired of governments murdering people around the world? Stop using their money. There is an alternative. Bitcoin is a stateless, free market, non-political currency. Bitcoin cannot be inflated or controlled by any government. By using their money, you are helping the state. Stop doing it. You have an incredible alternative available now. Learn it, use it, spread it.
Get started with Bitcoin at bitcoin.com. That's bitcoin.com.
Do you appreciate what we do? Help us advertise, market, and promote for just $5 a month at amp.freetalklive.com.
Yes, it is the Saturday night edition of Free Talk Live. A caller mentioned earlier that he didn't know that we were being broadcast on his local radio station. I'm trying to remember where he was from.
Michigan?
Yeah.
Alpine?
Maybe it was Michigan. But, that stands to reason because, well, we have folks constantly working on getting us on more radio stations than we're currently on. So a little bit later in the program, we'll tell you about the AMP program or how you can help get this particular show onto more radio stations. But sometimes radio stations will just go ahead and turn us up. They'll have talked to some people. They'll need to fill some airtime, and they'll be like, oh, look, this program's on. It's been on for a while, and we're syndicated nationally, and we're on a couple of satellite channels as well as on the internet, et cetera, and so on. We are unique programming in that you can call in and talk about anything. So the telephone number, of course, 603-283-6160. We have some calls on hold. We'll get to those in a minute. In the studio tonight, it's myself, the Reverend Captain Kickass. Joining me,
It's Bonnie.
we've been attempting to talk about this article from Reuters about this pipeline, the Colonial Pipeline, that supposedly supplies nearly half of the U.S. East Coast fuel supply, has been shut down because of a cyber attack. And so we'll get to the rest of this article as the night goes on. But also, more importantly, we'll get to your calls. And so first, let's go to Nick, who's calling from Maryland. Nick, you're on Free Talk Live.
Hey, everybody. How's it going tonight?
Good. How are you? What's on your mind?
I'm great. I just really wanted to elaborate on the prior caller and what he had said about it being an inside job. And
sure.
I really agree with that because, well, I mean, let's just put this into perspective here. What do you really need to have internet access, on such a crucial system as that, when you could just run it all on a local area network and keep it from, isolated from the wider internet?
Yeah, there's IT guys all over listening to us right now going, derp.
Yeah,
Why?
I mean, I'm definitely a little bit more tech savvy. I mean, I'm not the best, but that's just absolutely ridiculous. Something is just not right about any of this at all. Crude oil is the lifeblood of the military-industrial complex. They're deliberately doing this to cause the prices of gas to go up to prop up the dollar, which is dying.
Interesting. Do you have any other, I realize you're not holding like evidence, but like anecdotal evidence that, leads you to believe that this might be, being put on?
It just seems like they keep doing this over and over and over and over again, where, we see a random tanker get bombed or whatever out over in the Middle East. And it's always really convenient whenever the market really needs this sort of prop up, because you have everything constantly. You see all this fear out in the market nonstop. So every time that happens, they need something to prop it right back up. And that's what they do, is they have some sort of big scare or whatever, but yet they don't want everything to just collapse all of a sudden.
You're right.
They just want to put a little fear in.
This coincides perfectly with Elon Musk's pumping of Doge tonight.
Oh, right. Musk is going to be on Saturday Night Live. All right. Well, we appreciate the call, Nick. Thanks, and have a great night. Yeah, I would need actual evidence to believe anything. I'm, of course, a suspicious and questioning person by nature, and so this is all very interesting to me. You sounded like you might be confused about like how a organization, Bonnie, might, secure their network from the internet.
I wasn't asking how. I was like, why does it matter? Like, why would it be different for them to be on a LAN or then be connected to the internet? Like, why wouldn't they do that?
Well, right. And odds are pretty good that they are, they have their secured systems on a local area network. They're using some sort of corporate style VPN to connect their proprietary systems or anything they don't want the outside to get into. But if any of the terminals are connected to both the internet and the private LAN, then there's obviously an opportunity there for somebody to bridge them together. Also, too, sometimes these cyber attacks can happen as a result of the cyber attack itself being an inside job. That is to say, somebody gets inside of one of these offices or one of their relay points or somewhere where a device is already on that LAN and then just attaches a USB stick with the appropriate program on it to go ahead and launch this cyber attack.
Well, then it'd probably be too obvious it was an inside job.
No, I mean, we don't know. Hackers can do all sorts of things. It can be, internal attack. It could be an external attack. There's all sorts of methods to conduct these things. I'm speculating wildly, of course. I have zero information other than this article about this pipeline being shut down because of a cyber attack. But, Free Talk Live, it's what we do. We speculate, we talk about, we hypothesize, we question. So we'll
and we
continue
give relationship advice.
We do?
I do.
All right. Continuing on, let's go to Mark calling from Connecticut. Mark, you're on Free Talk Live.
Yeah, a couple of topics. They're all very important. I just apologize for the Bitcoin 6. Is that what you call them?
Correct.
The feds locked them up. What the hell is the world coming to, man? They just get too close to, I guess, a real currency, and the feds can't have that. I don't know what's really going on, but apologize for those.
Well,
I'll look into it, see if I can send a few bucks to help the lawyers.
We appreciate the sympathy, and even if you can't donate for whatever reason, you can help us just spread the word about the Crypto 6.
Thecrypto6.com.
Yep, share the URL, that kind of stuff for us. We'd appreciate it.
And Ashley Babbitt is a modern day Crispus Attucks. I tell my friends at work, and they know who's Crispus Attucks. I'm like, good Lord, man, would you pick up a history book? We're like fighting against the tide here. I'm not going to give you my last name because I don't want to. But
sure.
The reason I mention that is because I'm not afraid of anything anymore. I think that with this pipeline, this is a controlled shortage. I did tell you, call screener. I work full time in the transportation industry, a large state agency in New York. So I don't want to give that name.
Mm-hmm.
But I also work part time as a fuel truck delivery driver. I have a TWIC card.
Oh.
Anybody who drives just listen, know what a TWIC card, transportation workers identification card.
Yeah.
And it has been on my license. What I can tell you is in the greater Connecticut, New York, Long Island Sound area, we have barges that come in 250 to 300,000 gallons a piece and then unload at the terminals where we load at. So
mm-hmm.
I just don't want the feds to come after me because, they monitor everything.
Yes, they do.
So we don't have the pipeline reaches us. It goes to Jersey. And I do believe it's insane. Everything's computerized digital, no analog. But I'm going to talk to my dispatcher, and I'm going to find out what's going on with the futures contract. And I will call you guys again. Are you on the air Monday night after tonight?
Every night, same time.
Monday night, 7 to 10. Thanks for the call. I look forward to the update, Mark. We appreciate it. 603-283-6160 is the telephone number here at Free Talk Live if you'd like to join in the conversation. More on the way.
Citing their effortless physical strength, affability, and notable base tans, reports from the country's pools, lakes, and beaches have indicated that once again, the nation's Blakes coasted effortlessly through this year's seasonal lifeguard tryouts. Onion reporters spoke with Cincinnati Centennial Pool's manager, Charles Walker, about the exceptional performance of his Blakes.
We always see strong performances from Blakes, but this year's crop did especially well. Blake D did the 25-yard underwater swim in 86 seconds. Blake S and Blake C both carried subjects 40 yards without breaking a sweat.
In addition to qualifying as pool managers and certified aquatics instructors, the nation's Blakes significantly outshined the nation's Stewarts in swimming, performing CPR, diving, and glistening.
I'm definitely looking forward to being a lifeguard this summer. I heard the test was kind of hard, but it was actually kind of easy.
Our Kaylas are looking pretty strong too. As long as we have a few Blakes and Kaylas out there on the weekends, we'll be set.
This is the Onion News Network.
Hey guys, Mark Claire here, lionsofliberty.com, where we strive to advance the ideas of liberty daily. We bring you the Morning Roar. That's right, every Monday to Friday we'll have a brand new edition of the Morning Roar, where we provide a roundup of some news stories that you may not find in the mainstream media or even in your typical social media newsfeed. We find stories that relate to the ideas of liberty and provide you with our liberty perspective on them. Every Monday, we have our longest-running feature, Mondays with Murray, named after the great libertarian Murray Rothbard, where we'll examine an article or an excerpt from his works and help convey his view, along with our little spin as well. We wrap it all up every Friday with Felony Friday, where our own John Odermatt goes out and takes a look at some sort of felony. There's felonies committed every day, you know, whether it's a felony committed by the police, a politician, or even an average citizen. You can find all of this and so much more over at lionsofliberty.com. Advancing the ideas of liberty daily.
So you've signed the Shire Society Declaration and are planning your move to New Hampshire to be around more liberty-oriented people. Next, sign up for the Shire Society Forum at forum.shiresociety.com. There are a bunch of people there who are already in the Shire, and they want to meet you. If you're already in the Shire physically, you should also come by the forums. Remember, not everyone uses Facebook. New people are signing up for the Shire Society Forum every month, so drop in and say hello at forum.shiresociety.com. Tired of cancel culture? Sick of mega tech corporations holding an axe over your head? Join the LRN.FM Matrix chat server. It's self-hosted, so no one else can tell us what to do or say. Don't like the existing channels? You can make your own. You can even connect into some of our channels from other Matrix servers. It's federated. For the full LRN.FM Matrix experience, though, you should join our server via the step-by-step instructions at chat.lrn.fm. Chat.lrn.fm. Why did you move to the Shire?
I moved here to the Shire because there's other people around who take liberty just as seriously as I do.
I moved to the Shire because I saw videos of people challenging authority and thought that I could get support myself. It called to me, like, do this, right now.
I wanted to be around people like me who got it, and once I got here, I knew there was nowhere else that I wanted to be.
I've always wanted to change the world, so I moved to the Shire to join people who were actually working towards doing the same thing.
The people here are awesome, loving, and positive. It was for the adventure and for the feeling of something important is happening here, and I just wanted to come to sort of be part of that.
Visit shiresociety.com to read and sign the Shire Society Declaration and learn the reasons why, if you love liberty, you should immigrate to the Shire. Plus, connect with others via the forum at shiresociety.com. That's shiresociety.com.
Our Matrix server is about as free as internet chat can be. Join the existing rooms or create your own at chat.freetalklive.com.
Yes, it is Free Talk Live. Free Talk Live is the live radio call-in talk program where you can call in and talk about anything on your mind. The telephone number here in the studio to join us is 603-283-6160. Again, 603-283-6160. In the studio tonight, I am your host, the Reverend Captain Kickass, and joining me...
It's Bonnie, and Captain, I've just got to let you know, I'm tired of arachnophobia.
You're tired of people being afraid of spiders?
I just think that if two spiders love each other, who is the government to tell them they can't get married?
Are you an arachnophobe? Call in, let us know here on Free Talk Well, so it's funny you say that because one of my favorite hardcore heavy metal bands, they're called Propane, Pro-Pain, right? They've been around forever. They have a song from, I think it was Bush 1 era, so like we're talking late 90s or something like that, called Iraqnophobia. Because because of the wars and all that kind of stuff, bombings and or whatever Iraq was doing in the news those days.
That's a great name.
And so what happened is that song had a resurgence with the next version of Iraq being involved in some sort of military operation, and so it was pretty interesting.
That's hilarious.
And speaking of pain, we're going to go to a caller who's calling himself Major Pain. From Michigan. Major Payne, you are on Free Talk Live.
Captain, good to talk to you.
Hey, what's going on?
Bonnie, seeing as how you're intent on spinning your web, I have a riddle/question for you.
Okay.
Are you or are you not the only girl I've never met who could look me in the eye or whisper me in the ear that I am nobody's girl and be telling me the truth in a fib at the same time?
No, I'm not nobody's girlfriend. I'm Ian's girlfriend.
Oh, all right. I thought Ian was married, so I figured I had a sure bet there.
Yeah, he's married to me.
Well,
no, not legally.
I mean, not legally anyway, right? And I don't think that's something Ian would do either.
I thought I had one there. My bad. I'll have to work on that.
But I know somebody who is.
Bonnie and Ian sound like the perfect Irish match, and I'm black Irish myself, so I love you both.
Oh, anyway, we appreciate that. What's on your mind tonight, Major Payne?
Well, I want to touch on this inner tube crisis has affected the East Coast with the oil glut, right?
The inner tube crisis.
This is not a cyber attack. This is a shyster attack.
Oh. Say more.
Yeah,
Tell us more.
Look at it. I called you guys in a year and a half ago, and I told you, do not breathe the poison air from the inner tube. When they first made them things, they were full of sulfur dioxide gas. If you inhaled that shit when it blew, you were hit.
Hey, Major Payne, I'm sorry. I gotta let you go.
I know. I dumped it, didn't I?
Yep. Give us a call next time. Thanks.
Did it get dumped?
Yeah, I got it. So
I almost missed that. I was just like, yep.
No, I heard it and I'm like, oh, hey, I have to press a button now. And so I did. But for the rest of the listeners and callers, there's only a few rules, and that is you can't cuss, the dirty words. You can't describe, medical things occurring to a large extent if they're, particularly graphic. And there's a third thing that I can't remember right now.
I just can't believe he thought I was nobody's girlfriend. Just kidding. Love you, nobody, if you're listening.
Hopefully we can hear some news about the person named Nobody soon. We're told that he has new representation who are working to hopefully get him a bail hearing. Hopefully we hear more about that. Also, coming up on Monday will be Ian's. Is this his appeal hearing? Is that right, Bonnie?
Appeal for bail?
Appeal to bail? Yeah. So he was denied bail, and so he filed an appeal. And, of course, there's a whole brand new hearing now that is scheduled for Monday. It's already been moved once. It wouldn't surprise me if they move it again at the last minute because I have very low expectations of the government at this point. That being said, let's continue with your calls and thoughts. We've got Nate calling from, is it Massachusetts? Nate?
No, Maine.
Oh, Maine. I'm sorry. Thanks. I thought I wrote it down wrong, and sure enough, I did.
Well, Maine used to be part of Massachusetts until they peacefully seceded.
Oh, I can only wish that New Hampshire could do that from the U.S.
Yep.
Yes. So what's on your mind tonight, Nate?
Well, I just wanted to talk about, me and my foreman at work were having this discussion the other day, and I thought it was interesting. He's actually the one that brought it up, and made me start to think. But you ever notice that how when Biden is doing speeches and stuff, he's never in the Oval Office, he's never in the White House conference room, he's always just outside.
I mean, no, I personally, I haven't noticed because I don't watch that kind of thing anymore.
Actually, it's not true, though.
I stopped watching that kind of thing when it was probably around Obama or so. And he's not the first one that I noticed, but I noticed that he had 3 teleprompters, one on his right, one on his left, and one down on the floor in front of him, along with what we call a PA monitor speaker. Audio people and, people in bands will realize what that is. It's just a way for him to hear himself back over the microphone. And then I realized that he was just reading. So he has professional level, and all presidents do. They have professional level script writers. They have pro level production, just like the movies and the TV have for live production. He had a whole bunch of makeup on. His hair was done perfectly, all this kind of thing. And that to me says you're fake.
But it's not true, actually, because I saw him in the Oval Office on like one of the first days when he was signing all those things, and he said, "I don't even know what I'm signing," when he was signing.
Oh.
You know?
Well. Anyway, what we came to the conclusion, we feel like, we're kind of conspiracy theorists, but we feel like he's not the president. We feel like it's all a ruse, and maybe possibly Trump won, and he's doing things quietly.
What would he be doing, though? Like making immigration worse? Actually, maybe it all makes sense now, because immigration's suddenly worse.
Yes, they've gone from kids in cages to unaccompanied minors in relocation facilities or some other BS term.
I just know that they're way more strict now on immigrants than they shouldn't be.
And Nate, I do want to say, too, I know you said that you call yourselves conspiracy theorists. I prefer to think of you as free thinkers. Because if there's anybody out there who's reading politics, watching the news, paying attention to world affairs and the goings on, and just believing everything they're being fed, why they are not a free thinker. People who see all this stuff, read all this stuff, and go, "Hey, wait a minute! And what is this all about? And why does this happen?" And if it sparks you to learn more and get involved and do some stuff, why, to me, that's a free thinker and possibly even an activist.
Yeah.
Any final thoughts, Nate?
No, that was just about it.
Awesome. Thanks for the call. We appreciate it. Is it a conspiracy theory that, is Biden actually the president? Did Trump win? I have zero faith in elections anyway. And the question that I've never been able to get answered by anybody is, who the hell decided that elections were going to be the way things were going to be decided anyway? Where did that even come from?
Greece.
Okay.
Yeah, I know, but why don't we just decide it's
why
am
I subject to this system that I never agreed to? Everybody says, "Yeah, okay, the vote's you got to vote, blah blah blah," and it's like I never agreed to this system.
Well, I never agreed to any of this, and I don't want to be part of any of it. I don't even want their services.
Amen to that. So at any rate, more from this article about this colonial pipeline system being taken offline. The American Petroleum Institute, a top oil industry trade group, said it's monitoring the situation. Ben Sasse, a Republican senator from Nebraska and a member of the Select Senate Committee on Intelligence, said the cyber attack was a wake-up call for U.S. lawmakers. We'll talk more about this pipeline being shut down, and more of your calls and thoughts are on the way here on Free Talk Live. I'm grateful to have heard from some of our satellite listeners recently. I appreciate knowing that people are out there who like what we do and are willing to support it financially. LRN.FM's free-to-air satellite feeds blanket most of 2 continents. It was my goal to put our channel there so people without internet could receive our programs and feed pirate radio stations. We started a fundraiser on Patreon a few years ago to back the satellite channels. I recently announced that I was considering canceling the feeds, and donations increased from 15% to 20% of our costs, which are around $1,000 per month. That's a good start, and to incentivize more contributions, the Shire Free Church will be matching every dollar. Can we reach $500 per month? With your help, we can. You can join our satellite fundraiser for just $2 a month at fund.lrn.fm. If we raise enough to keep both of the channels on the air, awesome. If we raise more, I'll add more channels. If not, we can shut them down and go internet only. It's up to you. Thank you for your support. fund.lrn.fm.
The new 4th edition of Healing Our World, The Compassion of Libertarianism will take your understanding of liberty to a deeper level and has over 1,300 updated references, new cartoons, and a foreword by Dr. Ron Paul. With discounts for multiple book purchases, the 4th edition of Healing Our World is a great gift for the liberals, pragmatists, environmentalists, and Christians in your life who think libertarianism is cold-hearted. Get yours today at healing.freetalklive.com and use promo code FTL for a $5 discount. Some of you asked, and now we've delivered. LRN.FM's live Keene, New Hampshire studio shows are now streamed in HD on Twitch. Visit our channel at twitch.lrn.fm and give it a follow. If you have Amazon Prime, you get 1 free subscription on Twitch. If you use it on our channel, Twitch will give LRN.FM a monthly piece of your Prime subscription cost. So please watch, follow, share, and subscribe to twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm.
So the protection of life, liberty, and property is what the Free State Project is all about. But it's an effort to move 20,000 people who understand.
It's about demonstrating to the entire country
that, yeah, we can have a free market, a truly free market.
Making it just a freer, great place to live.
It's the world's largest voluntarist libertarian community, and it's only getting bigger.
That's amazing, to be able to move to a place where other people passionately believe in being free and independent.
What the Free State Project is managing to do, though, is to put their money where their mouth is. Physically getting up across the country and saying, let's go someplace and let's demonstrate the power of these ideas. There's a lot of kind of philosophy that surrounds liberty. There's a lot of thinking about it and talking about it. But here in New Hampshire, people are doing it.
101 Reasons Liberty Lives in New Hampshire, a documentary by Free State Project Early Movers. Watch it free at 101reasonsfilm.com. 101reasonsfilm.com. So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM. Are you a cryptocurrency advocate? The Crypto Tip is the ideal outreach tool to help new people discover cryptocurrency. It's a printable business card-sized tip that you can give to service providers, preferably in addition to a good cash tip. When the server scans the QR code, it'll bring up an explanation of cryptocurrency, how to install a wallet, and allow them to claim the tip. If they don't claim the crypto, you get your tip refunded to you after a time period you specify. Plus, if they do claim the tip, you get an email alert. Create as many tips as you want at cryptotip.org. That's cryptotip.org.
You can stick it to the man and big tech. Join our FTL social mastodon at social.freetalklive.com.
Yes, it is Free Talk Live, the Saturday night edition. The telephone number, if you'd like to join us on air, is 603-283-6160. Again, 603-283-6160. In the studio tonight, it is myself, the Reverend Captain Kickass. Joining me,
It's Bonnie.
and for years, libertarians of all stripes have wanted a directory of liberty-minded businesses. We're helping to build one. It's called Liberty.menu. Liberty.menu is a tool for your community. At its core, it's a directory for events, for businesses, for digital content, and more. Listings can be rated and reviewed, and there's a bit of a social network to it so you can connect and share with others. Use of Liberty.menu, however, is exclusively for individuals who reject the initiation of force and those who agree to abide by the ethics of the non-aggression principle. Put your voluntarist ideas into action at liberty.menu and use code FTL, as in Free Talk Live, to get a special badge. Again, that's liberty.menu. Continuing on with your calls, let's go to Jill calling from Virginia. Jill, you're on Free Talk Live.
sorry to betray so much ignorance, but what exactly is a teleprompter? Is it a machine the president looks and reads off what he's supposed to say from?
That is exactly what it is. News people use these as well. If you've ever seen like behind the scenes of a newscast or even a movie like Anchorman or something like that, it's just a television screen with scrolling words on it that they read from.
Well, what in the H does he need that for? So if he wants to say something, in fact, when I used to go down to city council meetings, sometimes I would think of something I wanted to say, write it down on a piece of paper, and then when the citizens had a chance to give their public comments, just go down the microphone and read it off. And why can't the president just write down what he wants to say and hold it on a piece of paper in his hand and read it off?
Yeah,
wrote the Gettysburg Address, didn't he?
Well, even beyond that, if he has all these like policies that are totally just his own idea, and he, thinks that they're so great, why can't he remember what he wants to say about them?
Yeah, I fully agree with you, Jill. I find that presidents or any politician really at any level who is using teleprompters to give their speeches, who is using Hollywood-style makeup, cameras, and lighting to put on their speeches, is a fraud. If you're
I could understand if a president was writing a speech and he had an advisor and had the advisor look over it and say, "Here, this is ungrammatical. You better correct that. You better think about that." And he might think, "Oh yeah, well maybe I'll cross this out and put something else before the time comes." But it looks like when his time came to have his speech, it would be his own speech, and he'd hold it in his hand and read it off.
Yeah, gone are the days in which political people, that is elected representatives, or as I like to call them, frauds, speak from the cuff. And I find it incredibly difficult as a human being, as I get older, to trust anybody who's not able to speak off the cuff about their chosen profession, about their job. If you asked me about radio, about doing voice work, I could give you stories about how it's done, how I do it, how different people do it, how I got into it, all that kind of a thing. I could speak off the cuff, no problem. But these politicians can't seem to speak off the cuff about their own frickin' job.
Yeah,
It does seem odd.
They're also on green screens. What's up with that? You've seen that with Joe Biden's hand going in front of a microphone that was supposed to be like feet and feet away from him?
Yeah.
I haven't noticed much of that because I don't have a working television set.
Well, that's actually a bonus, Jill. You're probably a much happier person for not having a working television set.
I just see tweets.
Not really. Oh, well.
Anything else on your mind tonight, Jill?
I guess that's enough for now.
All right, we appreciate the call. Thanks. Yeah, I am sick and tired of people treating politicians like they're celebrities. I don't know how this started. It seems to have been in place all of my life, near as I can tell. That is to say, the treatment of politicians as if they are movie stars.
When I was a little kid, my parents wanted Bush to beat John Kerry so bad, and I remember being like, I hate John Kerry. John Kerry is so bad, and I love George Bush. And I remember saying to my parents, like, if George Bush was our friend and our neighbor, would you let him babysit us? That's so weird. Like that, I don't know why I'd say that, but I just was obsessed with George Bush.
Were you saying these things because you were mimicking your parents' opinions?
Yeah, I was mimicking my parents' opinions. The babysitting thing, I don't know why I just specifically remember that, and I'm
well,
always
how
like,
old were you?
Like, I guess like 5. What?
Yeah, okay. I mean that, you can't really be held responsible for saying stuff like that when you're 5.
In my head, it was just like, George Bush is such a good, nice old man. It's like he should be my grandpa.
Yeah, well, and think about, too, so your parents are talking about this. Your parents have an opinion, and you, because the parents are your, quote, authority figures, unquote, right? You're mimicking them as a result of whatever they think is good. And so you're like, oh, yeah, my parents know what's right. They think this is good, so I think this is good. Now, think about how much television reinforced those views, not only on your parents, but on you at 5 years old.
Fox News was always on in my house, and I wanted to be a Fox News girl when I grew up.
Oh, jeez. I'm glad you're here instead of there. Wow.
With fake blonde hair.
Well, I mean, I'm not saying that you couldn't have done it. I'm just saying that I prefer you to be here in this particular circumstance with us, and you're into the philosophies, all that kind of stuff. So
Me too. I was radicalized by the Dugway Proving Ground Police Department.
sadly, it seems that that's what it takes for some folks to start looking into the philosophies of freedom, or voluntarism, and that type of a thing, because it's not until you get violated that you start digging in and looking at, well, what is this thing and why does it work this way? And once you start looking at how it works and why it works the way it does, you realize that they're not actually in place to do what you think they're there to do. It's completely opposite. If you take a look at the United States government and you go, what is the output? What does it do most of and best? Well, bombing people.
Who would Jesus bomb?
Yeah.
George Bush?
Yeah, so the U.S. government is best when it's, invading or otherwise bombing or kinetic military action and undeclared wars on other people. It's also really good at taking your money. These are the two top things that the United States government does and is really good at doing. They're really good at bombing people. They're really good at taking your money. They're really good at lying to you. That's probably number 3.
Indoctrinating in schools.
Indoctrinating is probably number 4.
When I was in 3rd grade, I remember this so clearly for some reason. My teacher was just talking, and it had one of those signs on the wall, and it had like rule number 1, rule number 2 about the classroom. And I just remember thinking to myself, like, okay, we need rules. Rules are important. And I follow all the rules, and the other kids sometimes don't follow the rules, so we all can't talk, and we all get in trouble. It's not fair. Everyone should just follow the rules. Like, I was just sitting there getting indoctrinated by this poster, and I remember it.
Yeah. Now, that just is, it's another pet peeve of mine, is all these things where you treat children in classrooms as a collective instead of individuals, right?
Yeah.
So if little Timmy's interrupting the class, well, do or say something to little Timmy.
Yeah.
Not you don't go, okay, little Timmy, because of your actions, we're going to punish everybody now.
But that's what they did all the time in public
Right.
school.
Well, and what this does is it conditions people for later in life when government wants to pass laws because of individual actions.
Yep.
Right? Somebody takes some individual action and the government goes, oh, well, we're going to have to punish everybody now. Right? Take, for example, anytime there's some sort of a new shooting somewhere. And then, of course, the folks come out and they go, oh, well, we're going to have to put in a new law against blah, 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 whatever gun or rifle or ammunition or whatever was used. You never notice people doing that after a cop shoots somebody, though.
Yep, that's so true.
When it's a regular person or, somebody that's a citizen that does a shooting, all of a sudden here comes the legislation against everybody, going to punish everybody. But when a cop shoots somebody, the legislation never comes. Why is that? Why are they treated differently? They're not different. They're humans.
And it's just like that thought process that I was thinking in the 3rd grade because of my indoctrination is the same thought process that makes people think like drugs should be illegal for everyone. Nobody should be allowed to do any drugs just because it might mess up something in my life or might mess up something in, it might mess up the whole community. That's just not true, for one thing.
Yeah, it's totally not true. And the market demand, is getting fulfilled regardless of whether it's legal or illegal.
Just more dangerously for everyone.
603-283-6160. Hour number 3 is on its way. This is Free Talk Live.
If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com to receive our usually weekly news updates by email. Plus, we have a Twitter account at twitter.freetalklive.com, and you can follow us on the decentralized Mastodon platform at toot.freetalklive.com. So please follow us at toot.freetalklive.com and sign up for our emails at news.freetalklive.com.
Do you feel like your nation, state, or community no longer holds your values? Have you dreamt of a place where people agree that liberty is important and are free to pursue their projects so long as they respect the property of others? There are many people just like you that are discovering freeprivatecities.com. Their social media links are at the upper right of the page at freeprivatecities.com. All skill levels will be needed when the first of the Free Private Cities opens. It's sooner than you think. Stop arguing and build. freeprivatecities.com.
Breaking weather news. Belize is sunny and around 82 degrees every day this week.
What's the forecast for your life? If current politics and economic prospects are cramping your freedom, escape to the tropics. ECI Development has affordable second homes for you to own or rent in Belize and other tropical countries. Places with stable governments and growing economies. Secure your freedom now. To find out more, send an email to ftl@ecidevelopment.com.
The LRN.FM social media channels have been revamped. We've eliminated Facebook and focused on other platforms like Twitter and Mastodon, the decentralized alternative to Twitter. On our accounts, you'll find posts from multiple LRN.FM show hosts together in one place. Follow us on Twitter at twitter.lrn.fm, or better yet, move to the decentralized Mastodon social media platform at toot.lrn.fm, toot.lrn.fm. I think you'll like it.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 3 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
A major energy pipeline shut down by a cyber attack. I'm Joe Chiro, Fox News. Colonial Pipeline says it was targeted by a ransomware attack that forced it to temporarily shut down a pipeline that stretches from the Gulf of Mexico to New York. The company did not say what was demanded or by whom. Tennessee Republican Senator Marsha Blackburn is calling for improvements to the nation's energy infrastructure.
We have had a Department of Energy cybersecurity project at Oak Ridge Labs, and I've been pushing to bring all of our national labs into a consortium to work on this, because securing our nation's critical infrastructure is going to be an imperative because of these bad actors that are out there.
Energy analysts say the impact on fuel supplies and prices depends on how long the pipeline is shut down. Deportations have reached an all-time low as a record surge of new migrants and asylum seekers continues at the southern border. Fox's Bill Malusian in Del Rio, Texas.
Border Patrol reporting that just here in Del Rio in the past week alone, they've been averaging 740 apprehensions every single day. The local sheriff here telling us he's never seen it worse and that human smugglers have been taking advantage. A semi-truck that got pulled over by local police after folks out there reported seeing people in the back of the truck. Police pull it over and there were dozens of migrants in the back of that semi.
Customs officials report 162,000 migrants were detained in April, but about 30,000 got away. 3 people were dead, including a suspect, and 2 others are injured after a shooting and fire in Maryland. Baltimore County Police say officers found an armed man outside a burning home in Woodlawn and shot him. The fire damaged 2 other homes. America is listening to Fox News.
Finally, get curcumin and CoQ10 together. Stop Aging Now brings you CoQ10 Ultra to fight inflammation and energize your body. Get a 30-day supply for 40% off plus free shipping with promo code FOX. Power and protect your cells for a strong heart, sharp brain, pain-free joints, and more. Nancy from West Virginia raves, CoQ10 Ultra helps me stay mentally and physically fit. Only from Stop Aging Now. Get 40% off plus free shipping right now. Go to stopagingnow.com and use code FOX.
The Equality Act is stalling out in the U.S. Senate. Democrats had hoped they could pass the legislation creating new protections for LGBTQ Americans this year, but Republicans warn it would open the floodgates for transgender athletes to play on female sports teams. A large piece of a Chinese rocket from a launch last month is expected to fall back to Earth this weekend. Fox's Jill Nato reports.
A 23-ton rocket core careening out of orbit and headed for Earth. We don't know where it's going to hit, but researchers think they have an idea as to when. The Center for Orbital Reentry and Debris Study says it'll be around 04:19 Greenwich Mean Time. That's 12:19 a.m. Eastern Time Sunday, give or take 8 hours. Because the Earth is mostly covered with water, chances are it'll hit an ocean. And some scientists believe as much as 40% of it will get burned up in the atmosphere. But if it hits land, whatever's left of it is bound to leave a mark. Jill Nato, Fox News.
At least 30 people were dead after a bomb exploded near a girls' school west of Kabul. The Taliban condemned the attack, and there's been no claim of responsibility. A well-known billionaire hosting tonight's Saturday Night Live show on NBC.
Tesla and SpaceX billionaire Elon Musk will take the stage this evening to try his hand at hosting the iconic show, which also features Miley Cyrus as musical guest. The announcement of Musk as Saturday Night Live host has drawn criticism on social media.
There is no such thing as attention span, according to Jerry Seinfeld, who figures that people have an infinite attention span if you are entertaining them. Hey, he's kept us from channel surfing for several decades, and now he's making more millions as a Las Vegas headliner. With money and attention so scarce now, effective communication skills have never been more important, especially if you're looking for work. So choose every single word as though it was the last word the person you're speaking to will hear. Otherwise, it might be. Avoid redundancies such as added bonus, advance warning, end result, prior history, or personal belongings. And avoid cliches like the plague. Just kidding. For more tips, hit survivalspeech.com. I'm Holland Cook.
A new video game is being criticized for its harsh portrayal of barbed wire. Here's GameBite's Caitlin Torres with more.
Bethesda's The Evil Within is a nightmarish adventure that shows bloody and rusty barbed wire being used to hurt innocent people, which has angered the nation's barbed wire producers.
Barbed wire is a positive force for good. It protects our junkyards from scrap metal thieves and helps keep our cattle ranches safe from rustlers. But Bethesda thinks it's okay to ignore all the benefits of barbed wire and make it look like some scary thing used by murderers.
The designers have promised that the game will feature prominent messages extolling the virtues of the sharp steel fencing. But barbed wire groups say that it's too little too late.
If Bethesda wants to make this right, they should have the main character go behind a fence and then be safe from monsters because they can't climb over the barbed wire to get him. Now that's a game I would play.
Let's hope Bethesda listens.
Thanks, Caitlin.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
We are kicking off the third hour of Free Talk Live, the Saturday night edition. The telephone number to call in and join us live on the air is 603-283-6160. Again, 603-283-6160. You could call in, talk about anything that's on your mind, take control of the airwaves. It's all good. We've been talking about on and off tonight this pipeline that has apparently suffered some sort of cyber attack that has caused them to shut the entire thing down. This is the Colonial Pipeline, and it is supposedly responsible for about half of the U.S. East Coast's fuel supply. This, of course, is sparking speculation of price increases and everything from diesel fuel to gas at the pumps to even jet fuel and that type of thing. We could talk more about that. In the studio tonight, it's myself, the captain.
And it's Bonnie.
I first want to tell you about the Crypto 6. On March 16th, 2021, terrorists, calling themselves government agencies, conspired together and raided the Free Talk Live studio that I'm sitting in right now, the Bitcoin Embassy, which is on the other side of town, and the homes of Aria DiMezzo, Renee and Andy Spinella, and Colleen Fordham. 6 people in total were arrested. These people are called the Crypto 6. They were all taken into custody. 4 of them were released on various bail conditions, but the person known as Nobody and Ian Freeman both remain held hostage in jail. What can you do to help? Well, you can visit thecrypto6.com. There's some information up there. There's a video. Then there are also multiple ways in which you could donate to their legal defense fund, because these charges just are not a joke. It's going to take serious legal firepower and many experts to protect the Crypto 6 from further aggression from the state. This case is very likely to set precedent that will affect the world of cryptocurrency possibly for decades to come. You can help them in their fight for liberty and financial freedom by contributing to their legal defense fund. You can find out more about the whole situation over at thecrypto6.com. One more time, thecrypto6.com. All right. Continuing on, let's go to Dan the Man calling from Tennessee. Dan, you are on Free Talk Live. What's on your mind?
Yes. This does concern pretty much everything that has been going on, aka pipeline, how the country's leaning so far left, it's out of hand. Research George Soros's color revolution, purple revolution, it's what's going on in America. Started back in the Obama days. Started researching it, and Fox News, any of the big stars you could think of that come to mind, anybody from The Rock, when they've started wearing the purple, they're basically on board with it and will further that agenda of Soros's thing. He's financed and backed BLM, and we know how long that's been going on.
So what is the purpose of this color revolution or purple? Is it purple revolution? Is that what you're calling it?
In America, it's the purple revolution. He's done it in numerous countries around the world. Each country that he's had a hand in, destabilizing, basically transforming that country into his worldview, so to speak. Well, he's had a yellow, like I said, different. When people research it, I suggest not going necessarily straight up through Google, because we all know how Google sends you to what they feel. Do it through a VPN, such as DuckDuckGo or another private thing.
Sure.
And it will give you multiple articles on it. And I've just started really, really digging into it lately.
Yeah.
And even just to see, like, I started noticing it on different TV channels, the news, the Weather Channel. They're always talking about climate change. And that's all. This is all part of. I mean, this is huge, and it's been going on for a while. But I even picked up Obama's his book, his autobiography, and even then, I was noticing. Wait, he's wearing purple, and in different things. And even Biden right now, either the purple tie, purple jacket. Kamala, same thing, purple. Nancy Pelosi, and these are different things that I've either found it online or I've seen it on myself on different TV channels or in newspapers, and even in The Rock. Rock, he was conservative for the longest.
Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson?
Yeah, you're talking about Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson?
Yes.
So
I mean, lost all mad respect for him just because of what he's done, but he came out and backed Biden. Okay.
Oh,
now,
I didn't know that.
And I've seen this in a magazine. I flipped the page and I'm like, wait a minute, there he is, and he's thinking about running for office, and here he is. He's wearing a purple jacket. I'm like, okay, this is getting out of hand.
Are you sure, Dan, that they're not all just big fans of Prince?
Well, Prince is one. I was actually going to say.
I remember
hang on, Dan.
I was actually going to say it's really interesting because I've never heard of this before in my life, but I've noticed some weird thing about the color purple with all celebrities. Like Justin Bieber, his favorite color is purple, and that's part of like his fans' like whole culture. Like all of his fans will wear purple to his shows and all this stuff because it's his favorite color.
Oh, weird.
It's their backing. It is for the America. We have ours is the purple revolution, purple color revolution from George Soros. This is what's going on. And I mean, I just like I said, I try to research stuff, but this is just too much of a coincidence. Fox, when Hillary was running against Trump, they were all for Hillary. Yeah, I mean, you have a few. I mean, I'm paraphrasing here, but there was quite a bit of the Fox people that were backing Hillary. Okay, and then I never really knew about purple thing back then. Then I just started finding out and researching and whatnot. Well, that made sense. And now, since Biden's got in, they've just went full blown. I mean, it doesn't matter if it's the streamers or the background or certain employees there now that will be wearing purple.
That's so
okay.
weird.
And then they have fired anybody that would not go along with their new agenda.
Oh, I see. Right. Okay.
Yeah. So, I mean, everything they preach now, it's controlled opposition, of course, but it's still, if you're bought out, you're bought out. Or if you're sold out, you're sold out.
Sure. Hey, thanks for the call tonight, Dan. We do appreciate you. That's interesting. I've not heard of this before. And, I've pulled up just a couple of quick things here online, but I'll do some more looking into what this is all about. And Dan, the man, thank you for the call tonight.
I think that's I'm really confused about how that's really a conspiracy theory. I mean, you're going to see the color purple everywhere if you're looking for it, but It's just weird because for me, I've just been like, what is up with their thing with purple? And I can't think of any other example right now. I can think of Prince and Justin Bieber. Can't think of another one right now, but I've thought of it before myself.
I was actually just making a joke about the Prince thing because, Purple Rain, and he'd always wear purple.
Yep, but still why? I mean, but he did say that this was George Soros's thing starting in Obama years and Prince's before that, so I don't know, but yeah.
Yeah, that's the trouble with colors. Colors generally denote gangs of some sort, right? And gangs can be anything from... Well, your stereotypical example in the United States would be the Bloods and the Crips, right? One wears blue, the other one wears red. What other two organizations in the United States are identified by blue or red?
Fire department and police.
Okay. Think bigger now.
Police and fire department. Oh, yeah, Republican and Democrat. I was like, police and fire department. Well, kind of both.
So now, are these all part of the same gang?
Yep.
Right? Are all the reds on one side and all the blues on the other side, no matter what your affiliation
when you mix them together, they're purple.
Oh, I didn't think of that.
I didn't either until just now.
We're getting all color wheel here on Free Talk Live.
Yeah, this is a little off the rails for our normal topics.
Did you know that black is the absence of color?
Isn't it also like all colors mixed together?
That's white.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, white is the reflection of all colors. Black is the absence of color. So when you wear something black, it's not really black. It's just that it's not reflecting really any color.
So weird.
603-283-6160 is the telephone number if you would like to get on the air. This is the Saturday night edition of Free Talk Live. We've got more for you on the way.
The Terran Federation and the Terran League have been killing each other for decades. Sheltered, wealthy, and light years from the threat, the members of the 500 have no interest in changing that. When Rear Admiral Terrence Murphy is given governorship of a backwater system, a risk-free path to wealth and power is his for the taking. But Murphy is a man of honor, duty, and responsibility. He intends to stop the killing, whatever the cost. Governor, by David Weber and Richard Fox, from BaneBooks.com.
Are you tired of governments around the world killing innocent people? Stop using their money. There is an alternative. Bitcoin is a stateless, free market, non-political currency. Bitcoin is money that cannot be inflated or controlled by any state. By continuing to use their money, you're perpetuating the killing. Stop doing it. You have an incredible alternative available to you now. Learn it, use it, spread it. Get started with Bitcoin at Bitcoin.com. It's Bitcoin.com.
There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archives. Did you know that we make it easy for you to customize your podcast subscriptions? We have different feeds, one that includes only our full shows, one with just the Daily Digest, and our main feed that includes everything. You decide what you listen to. It's quick and easy to customize your feeds at feeds.freetalklive.com. That's feeds.freetalklive.com.
Do you feel like your nation, state, or community no longer holds your values? Have you dreamt of a place where people agree that liberty is important and are free to pursue their projects so long as they respect the property of others? There are many people just like you that are discovering freeprivatecities.com. Their social media links are at the upper right of the page at freeprivatecities.com. All skill levels will be needed when the first of the Free Private Cities opens. It's sooner than you think. Stop arguing and build. freeprivatecities.com.
Free Talk Live.
They believe, I think, that government can be good as long as you just elect the right people, which, of course, is nonsense. Government can never be good because it's an agency of coercive force. It doesn't matter who's running it. It doesn't matter what the goals of the organization are. As long as it's funded through coercion, as long as it's funded through threats of violence, then nothing it can do is ever moral or justified. They understand the system and they want to work inside it to change it. So, therefore, in order to have their hunger strike that they'd planned, which I thought was a great idea, they went to the government, and what they do?
Ask for a permit?
They asked for a permit. They asked for a permit. It was already over at that point, right? Whenever you ask permission from the government, you might as well expect them to say no. No.
You know what? It sounds like government has this non-cooperation thing down to a science.
Yeah, right?
Free Talk Live, 7 nights a week from 7 to 10 Eastern, live on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
What if you want to hear the latest episode of Free Talk Live, but all you have is your phone, you forgot to download our archive, and you have no data connection? You can call our Listen line at 641-793-0191. That's a long-distance number, so you may incur charges. If not, listen as long as you want. 641-793-0191. The Free Talk Live Listen line, 641-793-0191.
Free speech is protected on the internet, right? Not always. Government agencies try to limit free speech and commerce on the net. Luckily, when they do, the Institute for Justice is there to defend your First Amendment right to free speech. IJ helped set the first federal precedent for internet free speech in 1999, and ever since has worked to prevent unconstitutional roadblocks in cyberspace. Visit our website today at ij.org.
Don't miss a moment of Free Talk Live. Get our archives daily via our podcast at feeds.freetalklive.com.
I do a terrible impression of toms. That's what you call those drums that drummers hit that sit in front of them. One of them is the snare. That's when they go snap. And the other ones that are sort of above those are called toms. There's tom 1, tom 2, tom 3, tom 4. You can have more toms than that, but yeah. Some people call them tom-toms. Because, I don't know, because I guess if they say the same word twice, it changes the meaning.
Cuter.
Yeah, I don't know. Henry Cho, stand-up comedian, used to do a great routine about how women, when they say the same word twice, changes the meaning. like, you know, girls will say to the other, well, was it a date or was it a date?
Was it a date or was it a
date? Oh, you have
date?
actual real dates here, right? Yeah. So was it a date or a date, right? And so he said that he got really upset when one of his dude friends came up to him after he went on a date and was like, dude, was it a date or was it a date? And he said, well, yeah, it was a date. I spent money. Yeah. Henry Cho, love you. At any rate, this is Free Talk Live.
Why don't you marry David Cho?
It's not that kind of love. Holy cow. Are you not into art in any way, shape, or form? Do you not have, like, favorite artists? You do in music.
Yeah.
I know you do. I know you love Tom Petty.
I love Tom Petty and I love Lady Gaga.
Why don't you marry Tom Petty?
I would love to, but he's dead.
I mean, that's dead people get married all the time, apparently. Have you seen government records? Hell, dead people vote.
True.
At any rate, this is Free Talk Live. I am your host, the Reverend Captain Kickass, joining me.
It's Bonnie.
The telephone number for you to call in is 603-283-6160. The phones are full right now. I have to admit that I am a human, and I hung up on somebody calling themselves Professor Know Nothing. That was an accident. Professor, if you'd like to call back, please keep trying. We'll try and get your call on the air. And before we go on, I want to tell you about ForkFest 2021. You can join liberty-minded voluntarists, anarchists, and libertarians from June 28th through July 4th for ForkFest 2021 at Rogers Campground in the beautiful White Mountains of New Hampshire. ForkFest happens the week after the Porcupine Freedom Festival, but ForkFest is decentralized, and that means that there's no ticket cost and no one is in charge. All you have to do is reserve your camping site, your RV site, or your motel room with Rogers Campground for June 28th through July 4th. I can't think of a better place to celebrate Independence Day than around other freedom-loving people. You can find out more at the unofficial website, forkfest.party. You can also connect with other attendees there. You can find the unofficial Telegram chat link, and there's also an unofficial forum. Again, links to those over at forkfest.party. We hope to see you there. Come party with the captain. It'll be fun. All right. So somebody called in to tell me that on the subject of purple, right, because we were talking about that, the caller called in about the purple conspiracy, the Soros conspiracy.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently, purple was the most difficult color to make back in the day. Textile, first coming up, Mesopotamian era, that kind of stuff. And so, because it was so difficult to make, only the elites would wear purple.
Oh, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Like
right, yeah.
royal and everything.
Right. So he just wanted us to know that. And then let's go ahead and go right to the phones. We've got David in New Mexico. David, you're on Free Talk Live.
And Bonnie.
Whatever.
And that, don't forget Papillon. Papillon, they sent him to the penal colony in somewhere in South America to catch butterflies with the royal purple and the blue for the money.
Do butterflies flutter by?
Is that true? Because isn't papillon butterfly in French?
Yeah, that's why they called it Papillon. Yeah.
All right. Did you have something? Did you have something you want to talk about?
Did you ever watch
David?
the movie, read the book?
No.
Yeah. Well, it's a good movie. It's a good movie. Steve McQueen, I believe. Steve McQueen, right?
1973, Steve McQueen. Yep.
Yeah, good movie.
Got an 8.0 over at IMDb. Director was Franklin J. Schaffner.
I just took French in high school. That's the only reason I knew that.
Steve McQueen, Dustin Hoffman, and Victory Jory. I didn't know Dustin Hoffman was in it. Must be young Dustin Hoffman.
Yeah.
Anything else, David?
And I thought, oh, yeah, I got lots of stuff. And I thought when you're doing that drumming, well, I was going to talk about I was going to whistle blow. But when you were doing your drum thing, to me, it sounded like you were trying to imitate El Chambo.
I don't know what El Chambo is.
Chacarone, 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 chacarone. No, 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 no. You know it now?
No.
Yeah, that one. That's what it sounds like. Look it up. It's a funny song. It's a funny video.
I know El Sancho.
You know what?
El Sancho.
I don't know that one.
I know El. I know
that
El Captain Kickass.
There you go. And so bringing it back to New Mexico, as we always do. So
as you always do.
For real? Is it? Yeah. Now or now?
Now or right now?
Later?
Right. Just right now.
Later or later?
I say right now. I'm not gonna lie.
Well, I'm not only here. I'm here.
For real?
Here.
Or just for real?
Here.
Here.
Way. All right.
This is great radio. I'm sure
Yeah.
Mark would be very proud of us right now.
Yeah, probably not.
Speaking of great radio, I was doing some whistleblower stuff, and this doesn't just apply to New Mexico; it applies everywhere. Because I called up one of our senators the other day, a state senator, after she had made an appearance on KKK OB radio in Albuquerque, and I informed her of something that of which she did not know, and that was that KKK OB in Albuquerque, New Mexico, like PJ Trout kind of shows, they keep a blacklist of callers that they will not let question their politicians when the politicians come on the radio show and you want to ask them a question.
But you got it through.
But if you're on their black...
You got to talk to her, though?
Yeah, but you got through and got to talk to her.
No. I called her on her cell phone. After she got off the radio.
So you're stalking her?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
And as I was stalking her, I informed her of this blacklist so that she was now aware of something which she was not previously aware. And that's what I'm calling about, because this happens everywhere, not just in New Mexico. New Mexico is just, like the FBI says, the most corrupt state in the nation, including Illinois.
Wow.
And
it is certainly the land of entrapment. That is a fact.
Yes. And I did some, in addition to this whistleblowing, I did some investigating, and I have completed one phase of my investigation, and I have concluded that on the KKK OB radio, they have a new guest. Actually, he's a new host, and actually he's a returning host because he had to go into recovery because he turned into a drunk and he couldn't do his job anymore, and they fired him, and then he went to rehab for years, and now he's weaseled his way back onto the radio, Jim Villanucci. And I had to determine now, because Jim Villanucci, they gave him his own weekend show, and I determined that it's not him that was keeping a blacklist against me, but instead it was Jared Hart and Brandon Hagany at KKK.
All right. Thanks for the call, David. Try and be more interesting next time. That's really all I have to say. The telephone number is 603-283-6160. If you'd like to be more interesting than David from New Mexico, feel free to give us a call here on Free Talk Live. More is coming up.
Carl Watner, longtime proponent of a voluntary society, died last December. You may have seen his articles published on his website, voluntarist.com, in his newsletter, The Voluntarist, the Mises Institute, or elsewhere over the last 40 years. His newest book, I Must Speak Out, Volume 2, The Best of the Voluntarist, is now available via Liberty Under Attack Publications. This 430-page second volume spans the years of 2000 through 2020 and includes articles by Carl Watner, Hans Hermann Hoppe, Carl Hess, Benjamin Tucker, George H. Smith, Lysander Spooner, Pete Eyre, Joyce Brand, and many others. I Must Speak Out is for the newly initiated, the veteran voluntarist, or anywhere in between. Buy the book now at libertyunderattack.com/voluntarist. For more great content on building a voluntary society and for Carl's extensive archives, check out voluntarist.com.
Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm. Bitcoin.com has launched a trading platform at local.bitcoin.com, allowing you to buy or sell Bitcoin Cash via dozens of payment methods like PayPal, Venmo, bank deposit, remittances, or meeting in person with cash. There are no ID requirements to sign up for and use the site, and all communications between buyers and sellers are encrypted. Finally, a global trading platform that respects your privacy. Visit local.bitcoin.com to get started trading Bitcoin Cash. local.bitcoin.com. Tired of cancel culture? Sick of mega tech corporations holding an axe over your head? Join the LRN.FM Matrix chat server. It's self-hosted, so no one else can tell us what to do or say. Don't like the existing channels? You can make your own. You can even connect into some of our channels from other Matrix servers. It's federated. For the full LRN.FM Matrix experience, though, you should join our server via the step-by-step instructions at chat.lrn.fm. chat.lrn.fm.
Hey! You are going to love the movie Victimless Crime Spree. It's hilarious, heartwarming, and carries a ton of inspiring freedom messages. Feeling down about the lack of liberty in your life? You need to put on this film with some friends and have a good laugh. It's a true story about me and my friends in New Hampshire living free, singing, dancing, and getting arrested. Of course, it's all on video, and the bad guys, the cops, judges, bailiffs, and sheriffs, they all play their part like it's out of a movie or something. You would think we scripted the whole thing, but it's real life. Go ahead and have a watch, and if it's been a while, have another look. I guarantee you'll notice things now that you didn't notice before. And the best part is that you're going to walk away feeling a renewed sense of your own power. You are the master of your destiny, and you will be free in your lifetime. Victimless Crime Spree.
We're still not sure why you'd want to watch, but our video feed is streaming nightly for free at cam.freetalklive.com.
Yes, it is Free Talk Live, the live Saturday night version. We are a live call-in radio talk program where you can call in and talk about anything at all. Anything that's on your mind, take control of the airwaves. Get it off your chest, whatever it is. The telephone number is 603-283-6160. We've got some calls on hold, so if lines are busy, keep trying. 603-283-6160. In the studio tonight, I am your host, the Reverend Captain Kickass. Joining me,
It's Bonnie.
And I just want to check in real quick with some of the chat comments. I don't think I'm seeing all of them tonight for some reason, but we have the following comments from a few people. Bonnie is crazy cute. There you go, Bonnie. A little ego boost for you.
Thanks.
Somebody says, LMAO, you play Fox News. That's true. In the top of the hour segments, we have a news program. Just happens to be Fox News that plays. We used to have a different one, but that one stopped being produced, so we really had no choice then to play something else. And I didn't make the choice, but that's what it was. The barbed wire commercial was just a parody, right? We play these audio bits from The Onion that Ian...
clips, yeah.
Yeah, that he clips and sews together and has an entire library of these things, and we play them for your entertainment. They are funny, but yes, please be aware that those commercials are humor content. They're not real commercials and that type of a thing. So, use your own judgment. So, all right. So before we go on, we've been talking about the big story, of course, is the pipeline that was under a cyber attack. This is called the Colonial Pipeline. It's responsible for about half of the East Coast's fuel delivery. It has been shut down as a result of this cyber attack, and I don't know if we'll get to more of this story or not, but that is the lead story from Reuters.com. And before we get to your calls, I want to say thank you to somebody called... Well, this is almost funny. This person is called Dodger. I almost read it as Dozier because, tonight's the big Doge night, apparently. For all you Doge fiends out there, get along, little Doji. I know a lot of you have sunk a whole bunch of your life savings and your second and third mortgages into Doge now, in the hopes that Elon Musk will merely mutter the word Doge at some point tonight on his Saturday Night Live appearance, in hopes that your money will double, triple, quadruple, and even 10x itself, taking you straight to the moon and allowing you to buy Lamborghinis and mansions, the likes of which only NFL star players can afford.
It could happen.
I wish you the best in those endeavors if you're a Dozier. I think it's a little scary if you did any of the things that I said, like a second or third mortgage on your house to put into this thing. Don't risk any more than you can afford to lose. I don't want to see anybody who's getting into cryptocurrency go, I lost my life savings because I thought I would do this because of Elon Musk.
Yeah, I am not a financial advisor, and you shouldn't listen to anything I say.
Right.
Ever.
And you are also responsible for your own actions. So there you go. That's my rant. Anyway, tonight's amplifier is named Dodger, not Dozier, Dodger. And Dodger is a silver level amplifier. That means he gives $5 a month to the AMP program. What is the AMP program? Well, AMP stands for Advertise, Market, and Promote. And so he gives $5 a month, Dozier does. And what that does is it goes directly to help get this radio program onto more radio stations around the country. We're currently on something like 200 radio stations. We could be on 250. We could be on 300, maybe even more radio stations around the country. It's all up to you. Please find out more over at amp.com. amp.freetalklive.com. Again, amp.freetalklive.com. Thank you again, Dodger. Dodger. I said it by mistake. We appreciate you.
Thank you, Dodger. Last night, a friend of mine that I love was asking for like.
Why don't you marry him?
Whatever. He was asking me for like Bitcoin advice, and he said he wanted to put $6,000 into Doge. I was like, wow, that's a cool idea. I would recommend putting some into Bitcoin Cash and Monero and
maybe Ethereum.
Yeah, other things like that.
Although Ethereum's on the rise now. I don't know. I might wait till a dip shows up, but.
Well, either way, just maybe don't put all of your savings into Doge, but put some. And hold even when it goes down.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know about that.
You're early into all crypto.
So that's Bonnie's not a financial advisor advice. Don't listen to anything she says.
Don't listen to me.
Or listen to anything that I say regarding that either. But make your own decisions, please. So first in line, we're going to go to Professor Know Nothing, who did call back, calling from Florida. Professor Know Nothing, you are on Free Talk Live.
Hello.
Hello.
We lost you. Can't hear you.
Yeah, it sounds like your phone might be breaking up. I don't know. I can hear you now, though.
My subject was toilets.
What about them?
I just wanted to talk about the dumbing down of American society. So go into a restaurant and just ask an employee where the toilet is, and they'll look at you like you have 3 eyes. Or go into 7-Eleven. It just seems so ridiculous. They go, oh, the restroom? Or the bathroom? And it's like, no, just the toilet. And then it just seems so ridiculous to me. It's just talk about the counterculture and some of these buzzwords. So, and another thing that's funny about toilets is most of them are left-hand flush, and now they have the silly ones in the middle. And I don't know if anybody else finds themselves with the low-flow toilets. Now you have the number 1 or the number 2.
Yeah.
Those buttons.
Yeah. What is with
questioning which one to push?
Right? Yeah, I find myself that all the time. Which one is do they do different things even?
Yeah, I know.
And it's so inconvenient to push it in the middle.
Yeah.
For me, how are you supposed to spin around and push the button in the middle?
And the other thing is, I use my foot to flush if it's like a regular type of flush, like a
public restroom, and it's a regular flush. Yeah, use your foot.
Yeah, I use my foot, and you can't use your foot to press those little buttons in the top middle, so those are annoying.
Yep. Also, cold toilet seats. I hate cold toilet seats.
Oh yeah, that's why I have a heated one. It's great.
And I don't know if you've tried what do you call it? The where you rock a bidet.
The bidet.
I highly recommend them. At my lady's house, we have one, and they are a beautiful thing. So my first date, I go over to this lady's house, and there's no toilet paper anywhere.
You're like, how do I use the 3 shells?
I knew she was kind of hippie and kind of green, but I was kind of appalled that there was no toilet paper. But it was in the drawer. You just had to ask.
Oh, I was going to say, I wouldn't.
It works really well. So first you wash, then you dry. But once you start using them, you're at a loss without them because it works so well. It's just talk about clean and refreshing.
Yep. Well, perhaps it will catch on. Hey, thanks for the call tonight, Professor Know Nothing. We appreciate it. Thanks for calling back. Yeah, I don't even remember when I first saw those, like the little circle thing in the middle of the toilet to flush. Like I remember being confused by it, and I was like, that must be the flush because I don't see the regular handle on the left. And so then, of course, I pressed one of them and it worked. I was like, oh, I guess that's how you do it. But yeah, I haven't bothered to consult the magic rectangle in my pocket that knows everything to see why there's 2 buttons. I imagine that one is for a light flush.
Yeah, because one has a picture of 1 raindrop and the other has a picture of 2 raindrops.
Oh, I didn't see that. I only saw the 2 buttons.
Maybe on most of them. I feel like these are always in Circle Ks, which I feel like aren't even up here. Are there Circle Ks up here?
Strange things are afoot at the Circle K.
You can't use your foot.
There are no Circle Ks in New Hampshire that I'm aware of. There may be, but I haven't seen any. They don't seem like the chain for up here.
What about a Valero?
They have those on the West Coast, but I haven't seen those here either.
I was just trying to sound really Texan.
Yeah, okay. You want to sound Texan? You gotta get with the drawl.
Where's the HEB?
And say things like y'all and fixin' to.
Y'all, I'm fixing to go crazy. There's no HEB around here.
This is Free Talk Live. More of your calls and thoughts are on the way. If you'd like to join us, please dial 603-283-6160. And you can talk about, well, whatever's on your mind. This is Free Talk Live.
On Free Talk Live, we're bringing people to the ideas of liberty every day. From wrestling superstars like Glenn Jacobs.
You guys really are having an impact, I believe. Like I said, a lot of where I am now is due to listening to Free Talk Live. You changed my mind on some very important issues years ago.
To random people tuning in on the radio.
I was kind of stuck in the left-right paradigm. I heard your show by chance on a Saturday night. From there, I went on, joined the Free State Project, and become an amplifier. So, I mean, that's really the reason why I amp is because I know that if it wasn't for you guys being on as many stations as you are, I never would have found the ideas of liberty.
Your amp will directly change more lives by getting Free Talk Live in front of people looking for talk radio online and on the air. When you amp Free Talk Live, you get perks like access to the AMP-only Facebook group and AMP podcast. Visit amp.freetalklive.com.
I'm crazy about My Magic Mud. This is the most important oral care product created this millennium, and I'm not kidding. We all have different opinions on politics and issues, but we all have mouths. And I want yours to be as clean as possible, with teeth as bright as they were meant to be. I will never be without My Magic Mud. It's a little surprising, but man, does it work. If you only listen to one thing I say ever, go to mymagicmud.com and get 20% off with code FTL. mymagicmud.com, code FTL.
Some of you asked, and now we've delivered. LRN.FM's live Keene, New Hampshire studio shows are now streamed in HD on Twitch. Visit our channel at twitch.lrn.fm and give it a follow. If you have Amazon Prime, you get one free subscription on Twitch. If you use it on our channel, Twitch will give LRN.FM a monthly piece of your Prime subscription cost. So please watch, follow, share, and subscribe to twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm. I'm grateful to have heard from some of our satellite listeners recently. I appreciate knowing that people are out there who like what we do and are willing to support it financially. LRN.FM's free-to-air satellite feeds blanket most of 2 continents. It was my goal to put our channel there so people without internet could receive our programs and feed pirate radio stations. We started a fundraiser on Patreon a few years ago to back the satellite channels. I recently announced that I was considering canceling the feeds, and donations increased from 15 to 20% of our costs, which are around $1,000 per month. That's a good start, and to incentivize more contributions, the Shire Free Church will be matching every dollar. Can we reach $500 per month? With your help, we can. You can join our satellite fundraiser for just $2 a month at fund.lrn.fm. If we raise enough to keep both of the channels on the air, awesome. If we raise more, I'll add more channels. If not, we can shut them down and go internet only. It's up to you. Thank you for your support. fund.lrn.fm. So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM.
There are basically 2 types of advertising: direct response and branding. Radio's great for direct response with its low cost to listener ratio, but audio can't be beat for branding, which is a longer-term endeavor. You want to be the first thing that someone thinks of when they think about your product or service. If you have a local business that you want kept top of mind in your community, call the station. If you need national reach, Free Talk Live's got around 200 radio stations, millions of monthly listening sessions, can suit all budgets, and if we don't think we're right for you, we'll tell you. Email me, mark@freetalklive.com.
Yep, we still do email. Drop your email address in the entry box at freetalklive.com, and you'll be kept in the loop with Free Talk Live.
It is the final segment of Free Talk Live. Although, if you missed our show tonight, almost as soon as it's over, within 15, 20 minutes, generally, the episode will be posted at freetalklive.com. So, if the show's over, go make yourself a snack, whatever it is you got to do, prepare for your nightly rituals, all that kind of stuff. And if you missed it, you can just go to freetalklive.com. And most days, barring any technical difficulties, the latest episode is there by about 10:30 Eastern time, generally speaking.
Before you go look for it, brush your teeth. It's the law.
Thanks, Bonnie. I spilled the beans. I'm supposed to do things like, in the studio tonight, it's myself, the captain, and...
It's Bonnie.
Which I already announced. Thank you. I'd give you the phone number, but it's the final segment. You're likely not going to get in. But save it for the next time. We're here 7 days a week, 7 p.m. to 10 p.m. Eastern time. There's only a few exceptions when we don't do a live call-in show, and that's if we're at like a festival or if something else goes awry. It's very rare that this is not a live show. We attempt to bring you a live show 365 days a year. We probably come close. We probably come in at like 352 or something like that.
What?
So,
I feel like it's way more than that. We missed like less than 10.
Okay. I'm just pulling numbers out. I don't know what they actually are.
Irresponsibly.
I know, yeah. I'm just making stuff up now. Let's continue with your phone calls. We'll go to Alex in South Carolina. Alex, you are on Free Talk Live.
Thank you. Just enjoying your show. Now, I got off early. Usually on Saturdays, we're kind of late, but listen to the show again when I get the chance.
Thanks.
And thank you. Yeah, you're welcome. I finally got unlimited internet access. I'm going to keep that at bay. I'm not going to go crazy over it. So
Nice.
I heard about your show. You're on 710, also the free the download or whatever.
Yep.
I'm going to do all that. And also about your co-host tonight. I'm really enjoying listening to her. She's kind of, what they say, talk softly, carry a big stick. She's real soft-spoken.
Yeah, don't let Bonnie fool you. When she gets angry, she can be rather kick-ass herself.
Yeah, she just says it, and it kind of gets, she's like a poet. She says it, in a soft way, but it gets right to the point. But the reason I'm calling is I started listening to the show, I don't know, 4 or 5 years ago. I've called in occasionally, but I have finally, it's the first time I have completely stopped watching TV.
Nice.
It feels like, and I was always rational. That's why I watch this favorite show. I won't watch Monk. I won't watch anything else. I'm realizing, and what I love about your show is you says I'm not. You tell people don't be, one of these minions or lemmings, because really, it's a lot of brainwashing going on, and how powerful the media is. And I do listen to a lot of talk radio, but I've cut that back a lot. And I want to have free thoughts in my head, I remember quickly going back. I remember the band Van Halen and the lead singer David Lee Roth.
Yep, I remember.
And they had an interview with him and asked, "What about you smart guy?" But he said, "I'm a idiot." In the words VIDIOT, because I grew up watching videos and all that.
Yep.
And then I'm kind of in the same boat, but I've really branched out. I want to have my own thoughts. And my girlfriend likes to watch TV. I come in, she's like, "Here," I turn it off. And it's just like the easiest thing I've ever done. And I just say, "Hey, I love your show." And, I look forward to listening to you more often. And I'll get off the air and listen to your response. Take care. Bye.
Appreciate the call, Alex. Thank you.
I love the way he said that he wants to have his own thoughts in his head, because I was telling Ian the same thing like a month before the raid. I was like, I just feel like my thoughts are completely hijacked by like Lady Gaga and Britney Spears.
Yeah.
Because when I get on Instagram, I am suggested all these posts about Lady Gaga and Britney Spears, and I can look at it for hours.
Yeah.
I'm a pop enthusiast.
Yeah.
And I'm not joking. Like, my thoughts weren't my own. My dreams would be about, like, what if the government was making me into the next Britney Spears? Yay.
Wow. That's interesting. I also like what the caller mentioned about not watching television. Now, at a young age, I got to move around from different state to different state, or different city to different city, different area to different area. And then that continued through my early teens and early 20s. And I kind of started coming out of the fog when I started paying attention as you move from city to city, state to state. You start paying attention to the news, right? Because you're like, well, these people seem really familiar, but they're different than the people on the news that I watched in the last place I was at. You know, oh, and we're in a different time zone now, so the news comes on at 5 instead of 6, where it came on at 6 instead of 5. And so you start noticing these differences between the newscasts, right? And then you start noticing the similarities between the newscasts, and you go, oh, these are all basically identical except for the local content. Right, the local content being anything for, you know, the local city region, right? Oh, there's a festival going on in downtown, blah, blah, blah today, right? That's a local thing. Or the weather. The weather is always local to the area of the broadcast of that particular television station, right? But outside of that, the news broadcasts were nearly identical, right? They always had the man sitting on the left and the woman sitting on the right of the news desk. Really weird, right? Like you would think somebody would flip them around at some point, but no, that didn't happen, at least not that I observed, right? And then all of the formats were sort of the same. And you could tell that these people were reading teleprompters as well. They had papers in front of them, and they would do things like, you know, grab the papers and shuffle them and, you know, smack them upon the top of the desk as they were, you know, saying their words, but they were really reading from teleprompters. And so I was like, that's really weird, too, because you would think if you were delivering the news, you'd be able to talk about it off the cuff. You know, we talk about stuff off the cuff all the time here at Free Talk Live. We bring in an article, of course, but we don't have speech writers writing things for us. We don't have anybody giving us bullet points to talk about because the philosophy of freedom is based in principle. You don't need any of that stuff. If you have a philosophy and it's based in principle and the non-aggression principle is part of your philosophy, then you actually don't need any of that to talk about stuff.
And I feel like people are conditioned to always like use the same talking points over and over and act like that's an actual discussion. And you want to know how? It's through competition shows. So like I used to always watch all kinds of competition shows, including Project Runway, which has Heidi Klum judging like different creators' clothing designs, and they all just do the same things whenever they show their deliberating. It's like, well, I liked this, but I didn't like that, and I've just noticed so often people mimicking that same. They suddenly get into it whenever they want to talk about things. They comparing things. They just get into that deliberating judge on a competition show talk. And there's something called RuPaul's Drag Race. I've personally never been into, but like all my friends are into it. And I've heard them start talking about like the ones they want to win and what's going on. And all of a sudden they're talking in that same deliberating voice. Like, I liked this, but it's just the same talking points. I can't really explain it unless you've seen these.
Well, there's people that I call repeaters, right? And I'll bump into these people. I don't know. It's real common in sports, or if you're at like some place where you're amongst a chat with strangers, a bar sports. Or something like that. Sports is real common where you'll meet a guy, the day after the big game or whatever, and you'll say something about the game, and he'll say a direct quote from some BSPN commentator or some local sports commentator, right, who probably repeated the same thing because he was told to, because they're reading from the same copy or whatever it is. And these people just repeat it as if it's their own opinion.
That's exactly what I'm describing.
And the same thing happens with politics as well.
Yep.
People will read or see something on their political news channel du jour, CNN, Fox News, for example, and then they will go and repeat that as if it was their own opinion rather than actually looking into what politics are, where it came from, why it exists, why it's wrong.
I'm such a rebel because I have the same opinion as every single major media news station and Hollywood and the government.
Yeah, that doesn't make you anything except a drone, in my opinion. Sadly, we are out of time, so it seems, for this Saturday night edition of Free Talk Live. We appreciate you tuning in. Remember, you can find more at freetalklive.com, including the archives going back decades. Thanks. Peace.
newly recruited search and rescue officer, Marshall Hunter was resigned to a life of rescuing wayward spacefarers and derelict satellites. But when a billionaire couple goes missing, his own ship is disabled during the rescue. With communication satellites suddenly failing and lunar mineral shipments disappearing in transit, the crew suspects it's more than a coincidence, and Hunter must choose between salvation and sacrifice to save his crewmates and their civilian charges. Frontier by Patrick Childs and BingBooks.com.
Are you tired of governments murdering people around the world? Stop using their money. There is an alternative. Bitcoin is a stateless, free market, non-political currency. Bitcoin cannot be inflated or controlled by any government. By using their money, you are helping the state. Stop doing it! You have an incredible alternative available now. Learn it, use it, spread it. Get started with Bitcoin at Bitcoin.com. That's Bitcoin.com.
Looking for a great real estate investment? Consider New Hampshire, which is ground zero for the Liberty Movement. Your first call should be to Mark Worden from Porcupine Real Estate. He's more than just a real estate agent. He's your New Hampshire concierge. Where are the best places to live? Do you want farm, city, the burbs, or forest? Do you want a duplex or multifamily building so that renters pay your mortgage? There are homes in all price ranges in New Hampshire, and Mark can help with financing too. Invest in liberty and property. Mark Worden can help.
PorcupineRealEstate.com. If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com to receive our usually weekly news updates by email. Plus, we have a Twitter account at twitter.freetalklive.com, and you can follow us on the decentralized Mastodon platform at toot.freetalklive.com. So please follow us at toot.freetalklive.com and sign up for our emails at news.freetalklive.com.
Questioning Authority is coming up next, live after the news on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
A major energy pipeline shut down by a cyber attack. I'm Joe Chiro.